So I'm ready. Ready.
All right. What do you think the biggest problems in America are at the moment?
Right now,
Right fucking now.
we've lost our innovative spirit as a nation. We're being controlled by fucking like 15 or 20 like really rich people. Distribution of wealth. Um, they your wealth directly just let you influence politics in this country. Um, how our attitude towards pollution and the pollution itself. Um,
Hmm.
a lot of things are stupid. Continued drug war. I mean, some drugs should be illegal, but most of them shouldn't. This one are now shouldn't be.
All right. That's a lot. Let's go back to the. So you think America's controlled by? It's a fun word I learned recently. It's also kind of terrifying. An oligarchy. A few really powerful people that kind of control the whole mix. All right. Who do you know some of the names of the people on this list? Like who would be on that list?
Listen to some Alex Jones, fucking Soros, the Bilderbergs, fucking Bill Gates and his crony friends, and like pretty much anyone like that has like I don't know what would be the elitist level in America? Probably like $5 billion or something like that. I don't know. What is true wealth to you, Alex? So let me
Well,
ask you a
not
question.
even just being wealthy. I'm wondering, do you know like the specific people that are rich and also focused on? Because I wonder if there are some really rich people that just
How
aren't
many
focused on controlling as long as we want.
you're juggling them like hold on. So
You can lower that if you want.
I know. Just
Well, careful, like slam it down to that wire. So,
I'm not gonna cut it. I have this. Yeah, schools a lesson.
what was the fucking question? Okay, specifics of some people in this, like you said, like 20 some people group. Who do you think's in that? And
I
I feel
already
like
named like a bunch. Do I have to literally name all
so like
20?
Joe, okay, right now. Then the deeper dig, like what specifically links them to having control over, because I'm very unaware of the specifics of this topic, even though I've heard whispers of it a lot throughout my life, especially recently. I am very unaware of the specifics that prove that these people are involved in manipulating the government and the formation of our culture and things along those lines.
So what was your question? That I'm sorry. It was very long what you said, but I'm you just want specific names or do you want
Like specific events that prove that they were involved in manipulating our government, our way of life.
well, what about when all those rich people paid off all the doctors to say cigarettes were okay for pregnant women and shit like that, or that time the Tuskegee experiments happened and
What's the Tuskegee experiments?
a bunch of
That
like
just sounds
black people were
crazy.
given like syphilis against their will and pretty much fucked over. And I go, well, not just like all the people fucked over by the government through like just stupid wars that we just make up reasons for, like Vietnam and Iraq and shit. Just like, what about all those? Just like, oh, billionaire, oh, I'm a weapons dealer, but I make lots of money through war, so let's just figure out a reason to start a fucking war, bitch. Just like, we just need to have that conflict to justify, oh, we need all this money for our military. Why? Because we're fighting
Hmm.
somebody. We need to find someone to fight so that way we can justify this military. The Tau head with AK-47s, that's who it is. And man, it's really just us fucking poking at them. Really, it's our military who fucking wasted this money, but it's also the coolest thing.
Our badass military. Okay, all right, fine. I'll go on that fucking
We have
tangent for a
laser
second.
weapons. We have fucking all
Right.
kinds of crazy ass like jets and helicopters and shit.
Dude, I want
Scud missiles.
the fact that growing up, like, I wonder how much that made that the main dream when I was growing up, going to war and battle as a soldier. I wonder how much of that was the culture, the movies I watched, the video games I played. I wonder if it was more my nature or my nurture that led me to want that. Because it's kind of ridiculous. One of my cousins pointed out the amount of American military funding for a lot of Hollywood movies,
Oh
and
yeah,
then you can see how like well they're
propaganda.
promoted in
Yeah,
like yeah like a Transform movie, a Marvels movie, how much of their guns, their equipment, their people are displayed and usually and oftentimes in good lights. I don't have numbers on me at the moment, which I should probably get if I
All
want
the
to put this
evil
more in
characters
depth.
got reset.
What is that? Transformers? Which one? We're
Dude,
fucking
what was I watching the other day?
Megatron.
Fucking, you ever seen We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson?
No, but we have
And
it
it's
in
on
my.
YouTube. We should watch it tonight. Anyway,
I heard it's a good ass movie.
it's a really good movie. And fucking Mel Gibson's character in it he's a main guy in like Vietnam or whatever, a high ranking guy. He's just like walking through like firefights with everyone getting mowed down. But him, I love it. He has like just
Walking.
protagonist. He has the best protagonist on reverse.
Dude, you want to talk about some real shit about soldiers doing that? I think Charlie,
Yeah, it happens.
I can't remember the exact name, but he's like the poster boy for the Marines. Like he's the poster child. Fuck, I'm blanking on the name of it now.
Nasty.
Yeah, Jesse Puller. You would hear stories of him like they're under fire. People are throwing grenades and shit and shooting in. And I feel like I told you this story before, but I gotta say it again anyways. It's so fucking cool. And he would just be like standing there, a grenade gets thrown into the bunker, a bunch of his men start running away, like, oh fuck. And he just stands there like, you fucking pussy, it's not gonna blow, get back here and do your job. And it just that one specific one just happened to not actually explode. And he's just like he just because he's the kind of guy that would be standing up when bullets are coming by just to be that morale boost, I guess. I love to get inside of his head a little more and wonder like why he was going to such crazy degrees of showmanship.
Well, inside the movie, fucking We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson, his character kind of had a death wish, the main character, Mel
Ah,
Gibson. So maybe that was part of it. For Chesty, just like, I just wanted to know I died serving my country. It was like, that's honestly what he wanted, kind of.
hollow death.
Yeah, seriously. So it's like, I'm just willing to just, like, I seriously believe it, but I'm just willing to just walk up and act that way, you know?
Hmm. It's weird. It reminds me. You remember in Fight Club, Marla, the
It's not
girlfriend.
really Valhalla in my mind.
No, no, not Valhalla, but just that thing where it's like I'm constantly walking through situations where I should be dying right now, but I'm just not. Like it's just, I guess it's just not my time yet. Something like that. Because she constantly wanted to die, so she was walking through traffic,
Who?
smoking like the Marla, the girlfriend in Fight Club. The
Oh,
you yeah,
I think I need to go in.
that's a weird thing in life,
My
man.
girlfriend, yeah, the goth chicken gun.
Where someone doesn't want to kill themselves, but they want to die, and they live like they want to die, but then they just keep on living. They just happen to not. That's a strange existence. Mm, mm. American military complex.
Dude, oh, the blunders of American military complex, man. It's pretty funny.
Dude, I'm
And
not
that's
to
just
see those web.
because that it's almost like the biggest business in the world is like you got arms and armaments, and then like fucking drugs, pharmaceuticals, and you got like automobiles and shit. Like it's like one of those biggest businesses in the world. And show that it's not just like thing. Yeah. Just the thing, it's like it justifies itself almost to guns that are being manufactured by these people. Like it's like, oh, well, we lose business if there isn't a war, so we need to find some way through politics or whatever because we have much money to manufacture these wars. That's how I feel.
Manufacturing wars. What does morality have to be like within a person or a system or a culture like that? Where now it does, yeah. I may have not recorded a large chunk of that on that specific audio software. That might not be too bad because the audio will probably be recorded on that. All right, so what was the last thing you were saying? Or where did you just want to mention that I was resting that tripod on the laptop? Thank you.
I will say something else. That maybe
So addiction.
oh, what's the craziest addiction you've seen?
Oh my God. Craziest. Well, I don't know if it's the craziest, but it's a really fucking crazy one.
Whatever you're gonna tell me.
Being addicted to water. My grandma saw that in one of the psych wards she went
Being
there.
in water fucking addiction just like for a normal person because it's like everything you just I guess
This was like she would drink herself to death if they didn't keep an eye on
like
it. Like
pica or something.
some mental disorder, it's like, oh, if I'm at a water fountain, I'll drink myself to death. Because I don't know, I just feel like, oh, I'll just keep needing it. As like she was in a psych ward for that, from what I understand.
Oh man, I feel like that's a horrible way to die. Just
Oh,
fucking making your stomach pop.
hey, dude, for the Wii. Gotta do it for the Wii. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
We for the Wii. Don't we for we.
It's not-
Some fucking
oh,
guy.
that sounds so innocent. Don't we for a Wii? Just holding your pee while you drink a lot of water.
Dude, the people on that show were told, like, this is dangerous, and they're like, we don't care. And then someone died. It's just like, oh, fuck.
Dude, that's gotta be so outside the realm of what you're actually gonna imagine happening. That's like, it's dangerous, no problem. That's not gonna happen.
But when you're just like, I'll give you this fucking. That's the capitalism, the stupid side of it. It's just like sometimes people will literally kill themselves for a $300 wheel.
Oh, you might go closer and like, hmm. I think more like I don't think that person actually like understood that they would die if they kept drinking.
Maybe not, but still, you'd think you'd feel pretty, like,
Shitty? Oh, I bet.
horrible beforehand.
It's a weird detachment from our body. I think that's also one of the hallmarks of our current generation. There's obviously a lot of good shit too, and we'll probably talk about that later. But right now, that's definitely one of the hallmarks of the negative side. People not being within their own bodies, not being like fit, not being aware of those signals, like literally just a pain signal. It's telling you, oh, dude, you're gonna die. So it's like, oh, nah.
It's like, nah, I just want to go bad. I don't. Wii Sports Resort is a killing
Hmm. Ironically, getting it for Wii Sports Resort.
And getting a Wii at a Wii Sports Resort, that's a prize.
Dude, those games were so fucking fun.
So Wii Sports Resort was just like the Shrek 2 of Wii Sports, you know? Like, Wii Sports was good.
It was.
It's like, this is just like the second version, it's better.
There's a sword fighting a giant fucking like arena. His pedestals will fall in the water.
It was like an arcade game this one.
Yeah. Dude, flying around the island.
Yeah,
Oh,
flying around one was fun.
going through the volcano.
I remember there was like a frisbee golf game that I used to play, like multiplayer. It was pretty fun.
Dude, the multiplayers on the Wii's were fucking. Oh, they were different. They were so good. Bowling. Bowling. When you could do 100-pin bowling.
But yeah.
Dude, imagine they're gonna have that in the VR. Like it's a very short matter of time.
They might already exist, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
Dude, they have some crazy. I know they have mini golfer on VR, and they got like crazy like arenas where like crazy shit's happening in the mini golf arena. You know what I'm saying? Parking and stuff that you can't have everywhere. You know.
I hear a rocket scented like going over there and exploded and went flying.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dude, fuck yeah! I can't honestly. Have you seen ads for the metaverse?
No, but I've heard, dude. I heard someone hypothesize that fucking that ad for the metaverse might have gotten so many dislikes. It might have been the reason why YouTube disabled the dislike feature recently.
They disabled it. Oh,
The dislike feature recently. I don't know about the metaverse at all, though.
that is a funny. That is
Other than that, that's all I know about it. Oh my god, I'm guessing it's just the new face.
Oh my god! Now I'm just imagining like a really like pouty Mark Zuckerberg, and I don't know if it's a true thing, but I'm just imagining the fun guy. You know, guys, I think that dislike button. I heard people saying it's gotta
Because
go.
I'm talking about like billionaires just being able to like, well, get this company to do whatever I want because I just throw enough money at it. Get this politician to do whatever I want because I just throw enough. Because if you throw enough money at anybody, they'll almost do whatever you want. You know, especially when you're on that level where it's like, besides money, I can get other things for you. If you want to like meet some celebrity or something like that, or do this or that, like you could do weird things. You know,
That's a
I feel
it's
like
a real frightening side of politics I've been learning about lately.
there should be a cap for money. You know, skill cap.
I don't know. I think we should definitely stop having like pay to win elections. It's a bad idea.
But then it's like, oh, well, you have to fucking get so much money that you can take the money out of elections. It's weird because it's like the people who have money aren't gonna let you fucking take money out of elections because they are, you know, in control of the elections and they won't let that happen.
The enemy does get a vote. That's
It's
a
like,
great
yeah, it's
thing.
literally like battle lines drawn. Like they're not gonna let you advance, or it's like,
They will try.
they is they who do you what they do you think I'm talking about, Alex?
Corrupt, rich, want to manipulate America. People,
Yes,
yeah,
they live aliens. They.
they. Oh, but that's such a dangerous. I always want to be careful going down that road because when you learn about fucking us, them, psychology, you learn about how much how powerful
Yeah,
the force is.
there really
Like
is.
red versus blue.
And sometimes it is red versus blue. Like,
Sometimes.
sometimes it's just like a mosquito comes after you and bites you in the fucking cheek. You know, it's just like battle lines drawn. I don't want this mosquito biting me anymore. It's just like fucking mosquito. It's just like at a certain point, sometimes you're being attacked first, and it's like defend yourself or be attacked. Pick. Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's not like that never happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, oh, you're hanging out with your friends in the woods and fucking the bear shows up or the wolf shows up or something. And it's just like, I want to kill all of you immediately. It's just like,
dude, there's a part of that's so hesitant to fucking. It's so hesitant to label someone as that because that's so effective, right? Like these demons, we must annihilate the fucking self.
So I'm just like that though. Unfortunately, I wish it
Once
wasn't
that
like
more like right in front of it. Oh, that's perfect.
yeah, everyone wishes, the world was on that peaceful wave or something. Where it's just no one gets attacked unless they choose to, like a video game like D&D, I mean, like on World of Warcraft, where it's like, you gotta, like, agree to get in a fight before we get a fight, where it's like, nah, it doesn't always work like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, I just chose to start attacking it.
I really wonder how core of how core of that is how core to life is violence and needing to like dominate others' wills with your own will. Because okay, here, do you ever hear of Terrence McKenna?
Yeah.
The guy was really okay. I was listening to him describe our culture at large of the whole world as a dominator culture, which is a really interesting, I don't know, just lens to look at our society through dominators. And then I start to see that so much in the cult. If I try to look for it, which is also something to watch out for, I see it really quickly and clearly. And maybe I'm just in an echo chamber and I'm biased and shit like that. But dude, like, no pain, no gain. Like, you see it in the slogans. Carlin had a great joke about it. Like, just do it. Like, stop being a fucking bitch. Like, just crush through. That's such a common idol, I think. Just the fucking war rage, smash mentality to have my will be done. But there seems to be a lot missing from that, but it also seems to be such a relevant part of life. And I feel like I'm so hesitant to adopt it. I don't know. There's a part of me that likes the tra-la, fluffy fairy tale.
Well, yeah, that's the honest good part of life because you don't do those things unless you have to. The fucking because like naturally, like animals don't want to get up like fight because that would mean like you could die. Because like what you want to do is like fucking just like sit around and like keep making your dreams like wider and wider. Generally, as an animal.
And then on top of that comes a great quote.
The good part of life, generally speaking.
But dude, isn't it so satisfying when you fight and you start winning?
Yeah, I mean, in the moment it feels good, but compared to just not doing the fight at all, it is.
Especially the difference between a fight, like
It's awesome.
consensual fight and a non-consensual fight. There's a difference between
It does feel
sparring.
good to win a fight, but like generally speaking, people don't want to fight though. I know what you're saying though. It is weird. It's not like hunting. It's like when you finally catch your prey. Like that has like a dopamine rush too. But like generally speaking, you don't want to hunt either because it's like if you could just find your food without hunting, you would. But it's like nah, you'd rather just.
The process is enjoyable sometimes.
Yeah, it is enjoyable. It's fun. It's an interesting process. See, there's smart and then there's cool. Those are two different things. Oftentimes they're like opposite. Oftentimes, not all the time. A lot of times the coolest things are not the smartest things.
What do you think are some of the coolest things
Would
you've
it be
ever?
cool right now if I just whooped out two hand grenades and I just fucking shoved them on my ass? And I fucking kicked down the fucking garage door with a sidekick, and I fucking hopped in your mom's car, and I fucking just started up, and as I was starting it up, I blew up, and I was just like a flesh, like, grenade all over your mom's car.
If it was a video game or an animated show, then yes, that would be
From an
very
outside
funny.
perspective, if you heard that on the news that someone did that, would that be a full news story, Alex? Answer that. Would that be okay, that's a normal news story. Is that a cool news story?
I
Extreme is
so much
like,
don't want to call it cool. It would be interesting. I would be wrapped
it's
in it
awesome.
while I read it, probably, but fun. How much does that make it cool? I wonder. Like, what am I really defining cool as? But I kind of get what you're saying. Dude. Like a car crash on the side of the road. Like, if I'm not driving, I'll probably look.
Yeah.
Like, curious what I see, or an explosion or something like that. Okay, but that specific. Considering that I'm not the outsider, I'm the insider right now. I mean, obviously, I'm freaked out. But yeah, dude, that outsider perspective, life becomes so different from that realm. All the things you laugh at, like a Rick and Morty show, honestly.
But man, I'm just saying, it's like what's usually cool it usually isn't the smartest a lot of the time. And usually what's smart is boring a lot of the time.
Okay, when you say that, I have to say, I'm just thinking Tony Stark because I feel like he's the epitome of like,
He does a lot of stupid shit though. Like he does a lot of cool things, but a lot of the cool things he does are like dumber side, you know?
Mhm.
Like I feel like he like jumps into battle hand to hand just like because he feels like a lot of times. Shit like that. He could just be standing like century bots at them and shit. You know, century series.
actually, I don't. Okay, I don't know. No, that's fucked points.
Like, I feel like, and he goes at people with like swords and shit a lot of times, and like shields and shit, because he gets turned his suit to that. Like, I don't know. I feel like he does a lot of shit just for fun when he's battling. I feel like he's only serious like half the time.
Well, it is a Marvel movie, so that's a good point. All right. In real life, live gladiator.
Yeah, they're all like huddled around and we like lit it up for films and stuff.
That was pretty fun. Not gonna lie, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hmm. All right, I'm gonna take us to the fucking question log. And if you have a question you want to ask me, Seth, by all means, ask.
What do you think? I'll ask you the first question. Well, the first question that you asked me, I'll reflect it back at you.
Here, I will. In that case, pick from preferably one of the purples, maybe even
What do you think the
the
biggest problems in America are right now? Huh?
wait, we already said America. Okay, there is
Yeah, but I haven't asked you that question. What's the biggest problems in America, Alex? Huh?
probably like I think addiction. At least I'll localize it. I'll say in my life, in my like immediate
No,
realm.
America. Everyone's life in America. Not your life. No, the question is America.
I kind of want to. I feel like I'll improve it now by talking more about the individual. Because when you ask me that, I feel like I don't really know. Like when I have an idea of what's wrong in America, so much of it has a middle party involved. Someone who's like translating the information for me. Like, all right, they're on the scene, they're recording the data, and they're handing it to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm relying on a journalist, a scientist, a podcast to get this information about what's going on in the world in America right now. But when I actually look at it, I feel like my real example, like my real evidence, is in my own life, or at least some of the most reliable. I don't know if that's always true, but that is something I want to get a grip of. The fucking on the front lines view. Help me clarify my questions.
So what do you want to like? Whose lifestyle? Because like there's so many walks of life in America. So whose lifestyle do you actually care about changing and stuff like that?
First,
Like,
I want
like
to.
when I say like problems, like okay, I said, what do you think the biggest problems of America are? Obviously, everyone's got different problems. So like, whose problems do you care more about than whose, and what problems do you? Yeah, like what problems do you even care about? Like changing. Like what do you see as a problem in your life? Then and it's just like this needs to change.
When it comes to America in my life, understanding the state of America, a lack of clarity about the true state of America. That's one of my biggest worries about America right now. I'm worried that this political battle that I see going on could very well be either a civil war coming up or a distraction from a bigger problem that's not being talked about in the mainstream media or in the main circle where problems are supposed to be discussed in those popular realms where problems are discussed. I wonder if the biggest problems are sneakily in the background because what comes to mind is the idea that most
Like
of like
COVID, where it's just like that sneak problem that just eventually popped up out of nowhere. And it was like, oh, America can't actually react to this. And fucking every other country had a way better reaction and established.
I'm talking more about problems that are going on right now, but as they're going on, you don't see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of
Well, I
problems.
guess COVID is kind of like that, right? Because that was people. Well, okay, if we're gonna get real, I think there's a high chance it came from the Wuhan lab. Like it's a coronavirus lab. As from what I understand, like it's a lab that works specifically on coronaviruses. So yeah, in other words, I take back what I said earlier. What you said is a really good example. Because if that is true, then COVID has been a problem constantly ever since people have been working on that level of disease in a laboratory and just hoping.
Yeah, this is gonna be okay. Yeah, scientists like doing that a lot. Just like praying that like this unsustainable thing they're doing is just like not gonna eventually hurt them.
There's a great book on near accidental nuclear disasters.
Oh
Well,
man, I've heard of them. I've heard of some that are like, oh, there's a glitch in the system. We think that Russia's firing on us. Just like things like that.
dude, it's gotten so close. It's like they're in submarines. Two of the three captains have their keys in and turned, but the one guy's like, "No, something's off, bro. I'm gonna wait like a second before we fire back." Like,
That's
and
the
then just
worst like, just like radar system ever that has glitched out that bad. Telling them like, Angela World's here. Time to do it.
that is probably one
It's
of the
like you
biggest
got
problems. If I had to guess in the world, just in general, the power level humans are obtaining without the level of wisdom to like,
awareness of their power.
you have to use it like in a way that's not, for example, mad. Like it was literally called mad. The Cold War, like the whole idea of this war is mad. Like that anyone would attack knowing that it would immediately trigger your own all of your race destruction most likely. But that in itself didn't cut off the idea of war. It was like still in the air and bubbling up and tensions rising. It's like, all right, so what are we gonna do? What do we do? Everyone die? Oh. And I was talking about this with Gal.
It's like being in a situation where it's like me and you have a gun. We both want to shoot each other, but I'm hallucinating that like you're pulling out your gun about to kill me. It's just like no. It's just like wait a minute.
It's like
You
when we
need to
both
touch
pulled out
your
frag
power.
grenades.
Yeah.
Like we just both pull them out and we're like grabbing each other with one arm. Like you're grabbing my hand, I'm grabbing your hand, but we'll try to like not let the other go. We both have a frag grenade, like, I'll let go of the pin! I'll let go of the fucking pin! Like de-escalating seems like a better solution.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And then one of us is hallucinating that like wait a minute. Like because it's like
Yeah, he's about to
radar.
I think, I think his finger's twitching. He's trying to do it slowly so I can't see it.
Yeah. He's trying to
Oh my god. Maybe that's one of the biggest threats to humanity right now, the re factor. Like the throw the TV remote at the TV, like
yeah, the refactor, especially with that Iraqi war, they're like just like we need to bomb every town that we see. I've never heard people say just like, why don't we just nuke the whole Middle East? I've heard people who legitimately like made that suggestion. Like that's not the dumbest.
dude, as you say that, you really get a flashback to middle school where I swear to God I remember one of my history teachers saying that like as a flashing comment. I was a kid, so I didn't really
Just
register.
the whole Middle East is like that's retarded. That's a horrible solution for the whole world. It's like turn the whole Middle East into a fucking nuclear wasteland. Then burn a hole in that atmosphere.
And killing all those people. That's a horrible fucking
And then
genocide.
that much bad will throughout the world. Now it's like everyone hates you in the world. Now it's just like, well, I mean, everyone already hates America, let's be honest.
I don't know, bro.
No,
I imagine they're
no one
pretty.
hates us.
I don't
Everyone
know.
dislikes us at least.
I really wonder. Now they say that, I wonder deeply. Like, what did our best allies before Trump now think of us? Because that was such a pivotal.
Wait, say that again?
What did our closest allies, America's closest
I
allies,
think it must be
before Trump and afterwards, like, what's their new view on us? With because from what I understand, it was
Trump destroyed our reputation that badly. I don't know if it was like,
from what I understand, that's a
like, oh,
that's what it's
it's
I suppose.
like, I don't know. Fucking what did Trump really do that Obama didn't do? I don't know.
Okay, from what I understand,
Mexico, he really made us I don't know. It's just like the wall was just a big fucking waste of money. It didn't even help take any Mexicans out. It didn't even like hold back any Mexicans really.
From what I
Why didn't
understand, he was
even
like
finish?
pulling out of deals that we were in for a
Yeah, that's
while.
true. Yeah.
And then it's just like I can't trust you
You
to
call it like
hold
the
the deal
Paris
now.
Accord or something like that. I don't know.
Paris, I think with Iran or it was threatened with Iran,
Iran
and
deal got changed. Or, yeah, he pulled out of the Iran deal. Yeah, he did. And he was like saber out of North Korea.
yeah.
I guess they weren't our friend, but they weren't as
What
yeah.
is the rest of the world going to think of us now? That was a good one. I forgot about North Korea. Now that we're willing to poke
I mean, he was
nuclear
like,
power, like legitimately, like I will
well,
rain fire and fury on your
I guess
entire
it's like,
country.
I guess it is we. So
What do you mean?
I was about to say like it wasn't we. It was just our president. It was like it's, not, it's like it's just our buffoon of a president that no one actually thinks should be president. Like now, like we did it again. We're fucking same
I
time.
agree.
Just like, but he's a blue one, therefore.
The red versus blue, bro. So
And
I'm a bit traumatized when it comes to the red versus taking on that mentality.
Caesar Legion and NCR. Which one's the good one? Which one's the bad one? It's like you gotta decide. Gotta decide. And if you don't decide, then you're
How
not
can
the
you get
greatest
closer to
dog.
the
Yeah. The hell was it talking about? I was. I couldn't move it though.
hmm Yeah. Wait, yeah, that's fucking that's perfect. Dude, fuck that. Good leadership. Getting a good goddamn. So, what do you think are some of the fucking best leaders you've seen in your life?
What do you
And
count as a leader? Leader like mass like armies or like
not in your own life, whether it was maybe it's someone you
real
were looking
life.
up to, or like someone you admired, or like a literal leader on a team, or a teacher who's like leading the classroom towards learning these certain things. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's a very broad definition of leadership.
Remember fucking I don't know, he was kind of a good leader. I remember fucking Coach Hinson for the football team. He was a decent leader, but he was pretty like brutal and stuff. It was a misunderstanding a lot of the times, but he was a decent leader.
Was he like the fair sort of not understanding? Like,
Yeah, usually he was fair, but sometimes he had moves where he was like, you're not being fair right now, but oh well. It's just like your fucking will would not be questioned. So it's just like, yeah, I guess that wasn't the best example of a leader. He was a good leader.
no, because I remember hearing a lot of good things about him.
No, he wasn't really good. He was funny too. Like he wasn't always a bad guy, but I remember like one time, so we were told by a lower level coach than him, right, to put on like a certain amount of pads, right, before we went out to practice, and he told everyone just wear your helmet, right, and then he just wore like some pads because the lower level coach most recently told him like, oh no, you're supposed to just wear like these pads and stuff. So then he went out and Coach Jensen got so fucking mad at him. He was just like, "You listen to Coach Sabadri over me. You listen to Coach. Is he the head coach? Coach said do this." He was like, "Yeah, but Coach Sabadri said it right before I went out." And he was like, "I don't give a fuck." But he was just like, wasn't even like
Mm.
ready to hear what his explanation. Just like, "I don't give a fuck what Coach Sabadri said." And he was honestly like about to assault the kid. He was like in his face, like screaming in his face, like pushing him and shit like that. Then he was just like, "You fucking leave!" And then the kid just walked off, and it's just like, "I guess I'm just not on the team anymore because of fucking stupid ass Coach Sabadri." And I felt really bad for that kid because he was good at football, but it's like he got kicked off the team because of the fucking other coach. Because it's just like,
I think that's more because of Henson.
yeah,
That if that's how you're reacting to that,
yeah. Well, yeah. Assuming Henson has to be in the situation, and his will is unquestionable, like it was that day. But yeah, it was Henson's fault because
okay, all right.
you're just
You
being
feel like that's a
individual.
bad coloring. Okay, what would be like a really good example of him being a leader?
A good leader. Like I remember one time he gave me one of the some of the best advice ever for competition. I still like think about this all the time. I remember he gave this long speech like, "Listen, we go out to games,
I
when
say,
you go out to any competition, when you go out to games, when you go out to any competition, you're never going to be at 100%. You're always going to have some kind of injury, but the enemy probably will also have some kind of injury. So it's just like you'll just never be at 100%. You know."
did it stress a lot of kids out? I imagine trying to be like at 100%.
Yeah, because a lot of kids were like just like quitting because they were like injured and shit, and he was just like just keep this play if you're injured, pretty much. Just like at a certain point, it does turn into that though. You have to learn how to play with the injury.
Hmm. That's an interesting lesson. Being able to fucking play through what a broken toe or I've I don't even know the level of fucking injuries or rolled ankle or something.
Yeah, shit
Dude,
like that. Yeah.
learning about the level of toughness that our ancestors had is fucking insane. Like I heard, I must have said this to you a million times, but fucking saying it again now, that the swelling of a joint after like let's say you roll your ankle and it swells up, there's a theory that that's nature's way of making a cast around your injury because you would still have to jog and shit and like move around. Oh, I sprained my ankle, I fractured this part or that part, and then it swells up. It's like holding it in place more with all that pressure because I still have to keep going about doing my like
Yeah.
daily, even with fucking fractured, fucked up body parts. It's weird to think like, and I imagine we still have a good amount of that potential in us now if we just realized it through like day to day activities. I mean, it's not very practical, but I wonder what the upper limits of our pain threat like pain
Before
limits
we just
are.
pass out, I don't know, Alex. You want to have a torture sesh?
Wait, we have to train for like years first.
Nah. You see upper
That's
limits
right.
of our pain
Dude, we'll do like a
now.
before and after picture of getting fit. We'll do a video of the before and then like 5 years and then
You
another
want to get
video.
really unfit first, then you get really.
Unfit. Have you ever been unfit in your life?
Oh, what do you count as unfit?
Have you ever been obese in your life?
What do you count as obese? Like of what I consider overweight
From what you
obesity.
own, from what you define as obese or overweight.
I wouldn't say like I was severely obese, but I guess I was slightly like overweight. I would say like I've definitely been like 30 pounds overweight for myself, but at the same time, like
Was that like for exercising, like you're trying to bulk up, or was that
no,
from
no,
fat?
from just fat.
Hmm. Can't ever remember a time seeing you fat.
Yeah,
That's what all those hoodies do for you, eh? They hide your fat pack.
you never know. You never know. Maybe those are the days I was the most ballsy. You never know.
Compensating with a crazy fucking spirit.
That hasn't been in like years though. I probably haven't gotten like I just hover around 165 usually. Like that's probably what I am right now, and I don't really like diet right now. I just pretty much eat whatever, but I do work out decent bit.
Dude, you have to go there
I do
Friday.
eat.
I've been going some of the Fridays.
Huh?
Can you go? Are you working Friday?
Yeah.
Come to Spa. I was gonna say you should come to sparring on Fridays.
What?
Cause I'm there. Cause I'm the tendon.
I almost bought your bitch ass. Wrong you.
Dude, that would be so fun. You know what's weird? The level of increase I've noticed in my ability ever since like just training in stick, like with my stick foo in the woods and all the little games I'll make for myself there, and like dancing. Like it's been a surprisingly impressive jump in just my ability to spar. Yeah, my effectiveness with it. Just because probably I understand my body more thoroughly. I mean, I guess it sounds kind of obvious. You ever hear of biogymnastica?
Yeah.
It's type of workout regimen where essentially you try to move like other animals and breathe like them at the same time. And the idea behind it is it gets you connected with
Alex, you want to do some of that right now?
yeah, dude, let's fucking well sorry. It's all right.
Yeah. Act like you're elephant, Alex.
But the
You're a big elephant.
be a chimp, bro. It's like just start hopping around and shit. But it works in a lot of ways. And one of the biggest things you find is just how important it is to sync your breath with your movement and do a specific type of breathing for specific movements. Like that's probably the biggest thing I've learned from it and how much that improves your overall performance. Just like anything physically. Yeah. And it really refines that like yeah. Kung Fu's been fun. I'm kinda like making up my own stick foods.
All of you.
Mhm.
Yours are so good. That's coffee. it's weird how like humans, even hand to hand, we can kill a lot of animals. Just like if you just like put us in a normal like woodsy environment, and you just say like fight this wolf or something like that. You grown ass man can kill a wolf, you know. Like we're pretty high up on the food chain, you know. Like just like with our base level, just like slurs and shit.
Are you talking about grabbing weapons or just straight
Yeah.
up physique?
No, yeah. Like I'm saying, it's like we could just cobble together weapons so quickly with this shit around us and stuff like that. Just like in most environments, I'm saying like you could just kill like a wolf like easily, not easily, but you could kill one.
Yeah, it's not like imagining a guy killing an elephant or something like that. Like, all right, that's a reasonable size to compete with. It's weird to see how the fucking scales just keep going. Like when you see on like a cellular level, there's the bear equivalent and the fucking rat equivalent there. There's the ones that are so small that are eaten by this giant predator, and then it just keeps zooming out and zooming out and zooming out and zooming out. I wonder if it stops at a certain level or it just keeps.
I mean, it has to stop at a certain level. Like there's I'm pretty sure there's a biggest animal. I'm pretty sure it's African elephant, right? And then like the biggest aquatic animal would be a sperm whale.
We'll
I guess that's
find out
probably
like galaxies are alive or something. Or if we find out like galaxies are alive
what
or
do you define as a
yeah.
because they might be I don't know depending on your definition.
Probably like reproduction.
If galaxies just make other, I think galaxies do make other galaxies. Maybe I'm wrong about that though. I think they make smaller.
So far in my depth of knowledge with discussing anything about galaxies.
So I don't know. Hmm. But just like things that are inanimate kind of reproduce though. Like, do you count like what about Tamagotchi, Alex?
Isn't that
Are they alive? They reproduce.
is that the little plant thing?
It's like a little digital like toy from the 90s.
Are VR bots alive?
Yeah, it's just like
Or like AI bots, I mean.
there's a pig in Minecraft.
You talked about this before, and it's hard for me to really. Are they conscious? Are they sentient?
Yeah.
Where's the line
Where's the line? It's weird.
of awareness of your own being? How do you even know if something's aware that it's being right now? And what, when you say the thing, what is that thing specifically?
Yeah, exactly. The brain of that dream.
And then is the brain even the center? Is that like
The most to be alive. Yeah. Like, is a tree alive? Because a tree's kind of, it is alive, a tree, but
your distance from the mic is fine, but when you have it, try to have it so it's like aiming straight at your mouth.
yeah, it's pretty. So,
Is
yeah.
a tree alive, did you
Yeah,
say?
it is alive. Like, it doesn't feel as alive as it was.
I've heard weird, like, okay, you wouldn't feel that bad if you ran over an ant or a chipmunk, I imagine. But if you ran over a dog, you'd probably be pretty upset. Or maybe a deer, you'd probably be like pretty upset. But if I ran over like a human, it's a whole nother level of upset. And there's a theory that we're levels of complexity to consciousness. Like, if there's only a little bit of things I'm aware of, oh, no, I don't think that's exactly it.
Well, it is like kind of like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the more intelligent you are, the more it matters if I kill you in the morality chart or something. Maybe that's how it works. Or maybe that's not what matters. I don't know. What do you think matters morality wise?
When it comes to being okay. Dude, literally, I felt bad smacking my stick around the woods too much on other trees and branches lately because I'm like, oh, I mean, I still do it to a certain degree.
Ah, you're not going to kill the tree, but still, I know what you're saying. You are damaging the tree on some level.
Or like tinier plants or bushes or something. Like I'll try to hit them pretty. Like, sometimes I go ham on the tree. I'm not even gonna lie. But there's a part of me if I do too much, it starts to feel like, oh, I don't want to fuck up these woods. I really like these woods and keeping them in good condition.
You're probably not going to destroy the tree though just by hitting it with a stick, though.
It's all right. Maybe I even feel bad about hurting it.
You're hitting with an
Weirdly,
axe. It's like, all right, now you're actually chopping down.
well, there's a part of me that feels bad about just hurting the tree, Seth. I mean, that sounds pretty ridiculous, but
Ridiculous. You are damaging a sentient.
I don't know. Dude, I just think of that kids movie. You remember the one where the guy gets shrunk down? Nah, the guy gets shrunken down to the level of some like fairy or something like that, and the big monster is this oil monster on a machine that's just running through a jungle and destroying it.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
He
he
did like a
starts like
toxic slime. Fucking
it was a great song, I think, at some point.
acid rain.
Yeah, that's exactly it. At some point, the
Toxic
guy's
love.
toxic love, dude. Oh, there's a song to be promoted. I feel like I should start doing that, promoting one song with each podcast. That might be the one I promote for this song.
Toxic
Toxic
love.
love. Hmm.
Toxic love. It's like an addiction, man.
Yeah, I would say
A
so.
man's addiction to industrializing.
Hmm. And it's so weird to see that addiction is like the relation, at least from what I understand, the relationship you have to the thing, right? Like alcohol, you can drink and not be addicted. You can do, there are people who do heroin that aren't addicted
It's
to
like
it.
America. It's like humanity on a mass level is addicted to industrialization, but we're all like industrial addicts to it to like the highest extent. It's like we know it's fucking the planet, but in the moment, it's just so convenient.
All right, dude, for a moment, if you're going to go off of the belief that, and all right, I'll save the fucking tangent for a second. If you're gonna go off the belief that addiction is caused by trauma, pain, what do you think is the pain that is causing this industrial addiction?
Terry industrial complex.
Why do you think we're susceptible to it?
Because it's just like a weird cycle that we're fucking. Too many of us are killed before the cycle is recorded and we understand it, and elitists live forever. It's another thing, like rich people like living forever too. So it's like they have enough wisdom to pull the fucking rope a dope on us over and over again. It's like, like it's, I don't know. It's like when you go against someone with more experience on you, it's like very likely they're gonna pull the rope a dope on you a bunch of times because they're just smarter than you because they've seen more.
Hmm.
So, it's like a combination of factors of why we're susceptible to jump into war like Iraq just because government told us it's weapons of mass destruction there.
Then I guess I'll ask
Yeah, we
you.
found some mustard gas containers. It's like, that's not shit like that. We found some drones that had machine guns attached to them. It's like, I can make that. It's like, it's not as bad.
Dude, that
You
was
could
so
ignore
eye-opening.
that, but it's not a weapon of mass destruction.
Learning about that lie, learning about the fact that they knew it was a lie beforehand, that they found emails of people, like senators conversing about making that
Let's be
plan.
honest. George Bush was like kind of friends with like Osama bin Laden before 9/11, so it was like who knows how much. I think there were intelligence briefings about 9/11 happening before 9/11 happened, and then when it did happen, Bush was like, "Damn, I knew this was gonna happen. Let me finish the book about the duck, and then I'll get to it."
From what I heard, if you think of the same thing, from what I understand, the CIA, FBI, and police, local police force, they didn't communicate very well because, at least the idea goes, they were competing for funding, and so they kept a good amount of information that was related to to
Once
nine
again,
eleven.
capitalism wins for the 90 millionth time. Capitalism wins.
Oh, but I don't want to shit on it too much because it doesn't even
It
have
does do a
some
lot of
great
good
sides.
things. Yeah, it does have a lot of good. But then it's just
Like
like
we
it
have
does have that
a
also obviously bad stuff. You can't ignore the
oh,
bad
dude, but
stuff.
that's a freaky thing because humans are susceptible to negative, so focusing more on negative emotion, right? Like
That's not an emotion though. That's just like a fact you just spit though.
when you spit, it carries a certain emotion. Wait, you didn't.
What?
Wait, didn't know what?
What you just said about George Bush. The negative thing that you just said about him.
What did I say about
Give me a second
him?
to remember. I said oh yeah, after he
Well, I was talking about the funding.
yeah, the funding for the
I
intelligence
also thought that was
on
Bush
9/11.
specifically, but it was probably during his reign. Hmm.
But still, either way, it's just like
Hmm. Hmm. What are we talking about? Hmm. Something, something, something. Hmm. Oh.
Sorry, not able to help with this one yet.
I think I said it. Hold up.
like
I said it.
there's upsides and downsides of capitalism, but you can't just like ignore every downside. Like, no,
Nah,
not a downside. You gotta look at that side because that's kind of eventually, you know, what leads you to the hell.
sometimes, but I'm worried about over worrying.
Yeah, you can't overcorrect. That's also a problem. That's humans like doing that a lot. We have a problem. We overcorrect.
I'm worried, like specifically that that's a risk right now. When you combine the fact that like negative emotions pack more of a punch, pound for pound, than positive emotions, generally speaking, among people, like the intensity they carry. And when I look at a lot of sources for information, like to prop up a lot of the bad stories. like I'm sure if you go on the news right now and just look at the stories, a lot of it's just going to be bad news, like the car crash equivalent, like we were talking about earlier, and it's not going to be showing you the fact that huge amounts of people have been going out of global poverty like daily for the past like 2 decades, or show you that we're. I'm trying to pull up some facts that I gotta take time to remember them more thoroughly. But my point being, I'm worried that we're getting overexposed to negative things going on in the world right now, and it's actually blinding us to all the wonderful things and maybe overcorrecting. Like, hmm?
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. We're off.
I don't get how that always the.
I don't know how to say it. What are the wonderful things it does?
Listen. Yeah.
What are the wonderful things it does? It does a lot of wonderful. We go off to like threw the baby out with bathwater. That was angry.
Hmm. Like, what if we start to put a lot of funding into things like climate change, but like now I'm just looping. Like we overcorrect, like, oh, we think climate change is too big of a problem, so now we put too much funding here, so now our health department and education lost too much money, and that created a bigger problem over time. So
Maybe that's why our military is so big now, because just the World War One and Two era and the birth of our nation in general. We just like had to have the fucking war because we were at war with everything. Maybe that's why we were compensated over time.
I wouldn't fucking doubt it. Do the two biggest wars
Yeah.
at that time. And when I hear of America's biggest role was our ability to create huge amounts of equipment,
Mhm.
like tank, bomber, like. And when you combine that industrialization, military, and then Eisenhower's last speech was like a warning against the military-industrial complex, and he was general in World War II, so we probably saw it going down
Mhm.
at the time. But yeah, dude, it's like war is super important. It was at the time like the most important thing in our lives. Like Nazis are trying to take over the world. That's a fucking comic book, bro. It's like they're trying to take over the world, not just a country, a couple countries, a continent, the world. All continents, all land you could live on, they
It's
will now
messed
be
up how big
dominating it.
though. You see throughout history, like even Rome started that way. It
Mm.
did start this giant thing. It was like kind of small for a while, and they just slowly like built power until the point where it's like we're the biggest fucking badass on the block now. So it's like, America kind of did the same thing in a weird way, except we did it in a strange way because we found a bunch of new land and well found. You know.
They're talking about, oh, yeah.
It's like we didn't really find land. People we found it, and people already found it first.
That's the weird thing, right? Like you're trying to conquer the world, but in reality, it's the known world. Well, okay, if you cut off the edge of world at the literal planet we're on, or you could talk about like Romans, they conquered the known world, everything they knew of where people lived. Yeah, so it's even if Nazis took over the whole world, maybe an alien race would come later and fight them.
Mm. And from the stars.
Hmm.
Or like Genghis Khan did the same thing. He wasn't always on the big. Like maybe that's what it was with America, and maybe that's why our military-industrial complex is so big and overbloated. Then eventually we gotta wake up and realize that it's just like we're just unnecessarily pouring resource with this.
Hmm. That's kind of it's strange because that actually kind of makes me appreciate the military industrial complex more, even though I recognize it is something we have to change and fix and all that. Because there's a part of me that realizes maybe that was a necessary consequence of us winning World War II,
Well,
is that we would have this ripple effect of the military industrial complex. Like they would have been given so much power during this World War that when it was over, it would only be natural that now they have a lot of power. They're gonna start influencing a lot of things.
yeah,
That's the nature of having a lot of power. Unless you don't want to use it, but
it tends to be
yeah.
the one who has the power wants to fucking use it though. Yeah,
Hmm.
I see that.
At least in this context, it sure seems that way. So in a weird way, maybe it's like, yeah, you had your time military, I appreciate it, but you know what? It's time to stop being as powerful as you are. No.
It's like, all right, battle lines drawn. And it's like, all right, now you're just fucking controlling things because you're too powerful, too big for your britches. Now you got to be taken out by the people uprising. Sometimes, all the time.
Really makes it's kind of crazy that Mandela like became president without there being a huge civil war.
Yeah.
It wasn't nearly as, from what I understand, as bloody as they expected it to be. that take
Hey, a
a
lot
lot
of
of power.
times though, fucking people living in their ivory towers are pussies, and when they start seeing a couple of them dying, it's just like, all right, we give up. It's just like a lot of
No,
times,
they did.
a lot of times they're more pussy than the radical people that have been oppressed for a while. And then it's just like, all right, you're gonna lose this just on spirit.
That's a crazy
Most,
superpower, bro.
most wars are lost on just morale, not really like I actually wiped out your entire fucking enemy force. You know what I'm saying? So this is like that's true with all war. Most it's like most time you just lose morale, and that's why you lose. Not even just because you physically lost.
Wow. Is that trying to tilting it up a little bit?
It's like an intro map.
It's weird because your chin keeps going over it like this while you're sitting. Like you'll sit up, and then it's just out of angle.
Right.
Thank you. God damn. I said that I kind of lost track of what we're talking about. The war mentality, taking shit over, peaceful pussy. Oh yeah, dude. That fucking like barbarian-esque, super willing to like, oh, three of my limbs are blown off. I'm crawling at you with the last one I have left, trying to bite you, like bite your fucking ankle so the other guy can shoot you while I'm distracting you. Like we're all like, and when all of us, or at least a huge percentage of us, are that committed, that's a that's a really scary thing to be.
Especially once I see people on my power level falling off, it's like now I'm too scared because I know I'm not just shielded from my gated community or whatever. So maybe that's what it takes.
Mm. And then I'm worried that maybe there's too much of a bad narrative against people in the gated community of like the elites. Because I don't know if do you think having elites is like necessarily a
Yeah.
bad thing?
Oh no. There have to be elite because people do necessarily fucking do incredible things sometimes. So there are always going to be elitists, but it's just like the gap in literal like wealth, like finances. That's ridiculous. And like that's why I say like there should be a cap on that. But like even if you don't have wealth, there's things besides wealth that are power in this country. I mean, in this world, in this life, or whatever.
Mm.
There's plenty of ways to have power other than just finances.
It's like,
Like,
what
even
are
if
you
you cut
doing
out
with it?
even if finances didn't exist, you'd still have elitists. Like
Yeah.
just like I just have a bunch of resource, or I have a bunch of ability to do this, or just anything. Or I just know a bunch of people, or whatever it is.
Mm.
You're always gonna have elitists.
And then what sort of moral compass do they have? What do they want? And does that align with what the less powerful people want? At least the really important stuff. Hmm. And from what I hear, oh, and again, I need to investigate more because it seems like a lot of that's out of whack. Oh, for fuck's sake, dude! January 6th. Let's talk about January 6th. How did that make you? No, the when the power exchange is happening between Biden and Trump.
Oh, okay. I thought you, for some reason, J. Cole has a song named January 28th. I thought you were talking about that
Oh,
song.
I thought someone made a song about
Because I
the day.
thought
I was
it's
like,
playing
oh,
right now,
man.
so I was like, oh shit. This song, this kind of like lo-fi, so January 28th is a lo-fi-ish kind of sound song, so I thought it was playing. Anyway,
Listen to that song.
the trade of power between Trump and Biden you were talking
Oh yeah,
about.
fucking January 6th when the Capitol storming went down.
Oh yeah, I thought that was funny. Would I go to it? No. What was the Capitol storm? I don't even remember. That was so fucking long ago. I'm pretty sure it was just people thought that Trump won the election, right?
And they thought Biden stole it.
They thought he stole it. So they stormed the Capitol. Hey, they're fighting for their beliefs. That's kind of my initial opinion on it. I mean, the fucking Democrats do the same thing every time they lose. When Hillary, they don't storm the Capitol, but they do claim that the fucking election was rigged. And fucking
That didn't happen with Trump.
when Hillary lost, it's like it's stolen from her. Fucking let's pretend like the election's actually rigged. But there's still a chance she can win because the election was actually false somehow. It's just like they did the same thing. But they just took it because the Trump dudes, they're a little bit more radical, like we were talking about before. Like they're a little bit less pussy, so they're like, all right, we're gonna actually fucking storm the Capitol because we're physical. We're physically gonna do something about it. They didn't really do much after they stormed the Capitol because they're kind of still pussies, but but they're less pussies than the Democrats who didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Because they have guns.
as far as who's a pussy and who's not, I don't know. Because maybe it's less of a pussy thing to try to
Alex, people in the
decrupt
South are
inside.
less pussies than people.
If you
Okay,
by pussy, you mean someone who's not willing to use
Physical
physical
pussy, yeah.
like violence. Really, I don't even know if really quickly is the right
The
way to describe
traditional
it.
version of pussy, limp wristed. If I were to punch you in the chin and you go just like completely knocked out in one shot, he was like, I don't know.
That is the stereotype, eh?
I don't know.
I'll,
Like
I'll,
Mark
um,
McFly's
I'll
dead.
say I'm not sure if not using physical violence and assault is a pussy thing to do if you thought the election was but if you thought it was stolen, like you literally
Yeah,
thought
just
power
called like
was ripped out of your
yeah,
hands
it's like
on
he
camera.
actually won. Just fucking controlling the news, and you're just saying, yeah, because that's the kind of shit to being sold. Dude, I love our country sometimes. It's so funny. Dude, that's kind of why I wanted Trump to win, just because it's look, I didn't want fucking Joe Biden to win. I didn't want Hillary to win when he went against either of them. But I always said Trump is more entertaining than both of them, and that's just easy to say. They're both evil, but it's just like Trump is more entertaining. So it's just for that reason, just like for that reason alone, I kind of root for him because it's a more entertaining shit show. It wasn't entertaining 2016 through 2020. The crazy shit he would do. Remember that time he said like, "We will nuke North Korea. We will come at them with fire and fury. They fuck with us anymore." He said something equivalent to that. You remember that? That was cool. Oh,
That's so okay.
that
So
was a man and shit.
I was talking to Dallas the other day, right?
That's why, man.
And I said that I was excited at the prospect that Trump would win as a high school senior because I wanted shit to pop off so that my life was less boring. That was my mentality. But I wanted like real shit to pop off, but I have no idea what that actually looks like. I haven't looked
Shit
up.
pop off. I just think he's funny. I think shit could pop off with fucking Trump or Hillary. I mean, Joe Biden or Hillary as president too. I mean, shit popped off with Obama as
Yeah, I'm
president.
talking about like internal in America shit popping off.
I mean, like Civil War shit
Yes.
popping off. Well,
Yeah.
Trump became closer than fucking.
Oh, can you go by the
that.
okay. All right.
Do you feel pumped?
Hmm.
You feel pumped?
Yes, I got the bomb. It's power.
Have you gone to those final 2 or 3 events before family?
Oh ja. Spline. Zagami. Oh, I can pull my nose.
One day you gotta have Arnold Schwarzenegger podcast out.
Fuck yeah, it has to be like 80, but still
Hell.
just like the same goddamn badass.
You gotta have these like fucking punch you in the chest or something.
Yeah.
Should make the thumbnail have him like hold you up like Terminator, but you know what I'm saying? Jolly.
Has to be like, I don't know, have like a grenade launcher to the face, to his face, and he's like a Terminator, like eating shots or something.
If he like a machine gun or something like that, did he drive a tank or something?
Yeah, he like drove in a tank. I don't think he ever saw combat, but he was a tank operator, which is pretty fucking crazy. While he was competing in bodybuilding. So that's just a badass image right there.
Tank man
Dude,
in a tank.
I don't know what's more of a a hilarious piece of proof that we have a Dominator culture than just the image, like the badass image of Rocky with machine guns, or just fucking Terminator with a
What do you
shotgun.
mean by we? You mean like humanity or just like America?
In that case specifically, just America.
America?
Yeah, that war mentality, and that being risen is like a really good thing, a cool thing. But goddamn, it certainly feels that way. We've been brainwashed.
I mean, everyone's just lost to an extent
Yeah.
by their surroundings.
Dude, I was thinking about that the other day. Like, I really wonder what's the extent of the change in my mind and how I operate and my behavior simply due to the fact that I went through public school, like where I have to sit down many hours a day. Well, relative to the rest of my life.
That is the indoctrination process. That is a good question. It probably molded your mind a lot. Just like,
I can.
probably molded your mind a lot in terms of how you saw the world, what you thought was right or wrong.
Yeah, listening to authority all the time. That being the right thing because I wouldn't want to get in trouble. Things along those lines.
Who's your favorite teacher?
Probably O'Donnell. O'Donnell's one of them. Miss Doppler was great. Psych teacher Miss Hayes. I think she was in middle school. Um, Black woman
Hayes.
math teacher, gray hair.
I think I know. No, I thought you said Hayes like Hazy. I mean, you said he.
Nah, she's always kind of yo man. Always nice to me.
It was all purple and green. Just the baby colors. Green construction. Yeah, she always does that. Restaurant. Yeah.
How about you, Seth? Who's your favorite teacher?
I really like Mr. England, man. He was the best. At everything. He really was a fucking good history teacher, though. Honestly, he probably did give me the best history lessons that I had in public school, even though he was a fucked up guy.
We're not going to go into that at the moment, as interesting as that might be.
His name is Stephen Hager or something like that.
I think his address is not.
And criminal things or public record. You guys can look that up.
Yeah. If we piqued anyone's curiosity. Dude, who's this fucking short dude, jogged around a lot, bald, white guy, history teacher, Mr. What the fuck? No, alright.
Yasko?
Nah. Yasko, the fucking fat, bearded, no, not. Dude, he was fun. I saw him so peripherally as a character before I saw he was a fun guy.
He's pretty fun.
Might be like a jolly.
He was like a big teddy bear.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, okay, alright. Let's fucking loop back around January 6th. Shit. Hopping off. I forget the last thing we were fucking talking about, but I will say this. That actually scared me. That, like, on a deep, like, like, that hit different. That felt like my 9/11. And I don't want to be super dramatic, but that's how it felt. Like, I was sitting in my car, like, when I found it, I'm like, yo, I actually feel, like, fucked up about this. The state of, like, political tension in our country, the state of America. Like, because I heard...
Yeah, because everyone was talking about, like, man, fucking Trump loses, still winning, because we don't win. It was actually what started to happen.
We talked about it like a soap opera.
It's a war now. It was like that kind of thing where it's like, what if fucking battle lines are drawn? Like I keep talking about, it's just like now the fucking North and South are fighting each other again. Civil War Part 2.
A part of me is so, like, freaked out by and, like, wonders how the fuck that works and if there's any way to
It doesn't
change that. No, what works by that, I mean, the fact that we see it so much as a soap opera because it hasn't hit us in a really deeply negative way, like in our lives yet. At least that's how I imagine. It's like they show, like, Trump politics. He's making it wacky and zany, and we can watch it and chuckle. And it's more entertaining and not as boring as it was the past, like when we were growing up and shit. But the cost of that being, okay, now you may have to drive through checkpoints and have loved ones die and like crazy shit popping off, like an actual like brothers fighting brothers, civil wars going down in America. Not to mention without doing like a world scale, but to actually like fucking feel that, dude, that shook me. That was like, this is
It shows you the instability and stupid nature of our country. Fighting over two idiots no one even wants as president. Goddamn shame. We have fallen into the idiocracy future.
it's not that.
People are literally fighting for their WrestleMania fucking contendant fucking president. They're just like, we want him back. And then we want him back for SummerSlam. Pretty much what people are like. I'm pretty sure he put like the steel chair to people in WrestleMania too, Donald Trump.
Actually, yeah.
It's like, man, he's an actual character in WrestleMania. Giving people the steel chair. How many presidents can say that? He literally is a character. He literally just is a professional wrestler at a certain point. He literally is the idiocracy future.
Who do you think is the most badass president, Seth?
Immediately what popped in my mind were the generic ones.
Like Stonewall Jackson. I think he's the one that fought the duel. Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, those are the generic ones. But honestly, from what I know, guess Andrew Jackson, badass. The question was badass. The question wasn't nice guy. The question was badass. Andrew Jackson, dude.
Very
He
true.
fucking survived an assassination attempt, beat the fucking assassin fucking nearly to death. Like, fucking got in duels, fucking got shot, and just killed dudes, like, got in multiple duels. Like, he was just a straight up badass.
Wow. I'd love to just
Presided over a
politics
genocide, honestly.
Yeah, of like Native Americans.
Yeah. In terms of just, like,
Yeah, it's ruthless.
ruthlessness, yeah.
Yeah. But that really brings up the question of what do we mean by badass? But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
That's true.
That's like that war dog mentality. Dude, there's a great fucking poem by Shakespeare, and Jocko reads it, and it hits so fucking different when he reads it. And it's just talking about like a general warning someone before he sieges their city, like warning him what's really gonna come his way. Like sent, I don't know, note through a pigeon, like when the dogs of war are unleashed, like your people will be to get fucking like into the gritty shit for a second. Like your people will be raped and slaughtered and looted with reckless abandon. And it's said more elegantly than this, but that was just par for the course. It wasn't something that he saw as like, oh, I'm being a horrible person. It's like, no, this is what it means to go to war at this point in human history. I'm just going to unleash these dogs of war that will be. And he said at a certain point, when he does that, we're probably going to lose control of our men at a certain point. They're going to be so possessed by this like war god spirit that
They give you crazy shit where it's like we're doing like Caesar Legion shit, like we were having a lottery, just like shit like that.
yeah,
It's like just like insanity shit we just make up on the spot.
yeah, like some My Lai shit. And at a certain point, they might get to such a fevered high where it's like you don't do what I tell you now for a little bit while we're in this craziness, and it's just I'm unleashing that on your city. I don't know. There's so little emotional impact to me. Like when I think of war, like you can read the books and
Pretty
it
much what we did
helps
in
understand.
Vietnam. Honestly, a lot. Now I'm thinking about what you're talking about. I was like, we kind of did that in America and Vietnam. Just like like first it was like, yeah, we're here to save them. Then it was just like kill the whole village. They could be Viet Cong. Just like then eventually just turned into like we're just here. We're just fucking mowing through fucking colonies of them. You know.
Mm. Yeah, I think we're gonna need some new sort of morality as we're moving forward into the future. Something more, it sounds so hippie-ish, but something more humane. Because at a certain really practical level, like it's not, I don't see how it's feasible anymore for like China or America to fight one another. Like, all right,
I think
everyone
now, I think
dies.
we're
What's
going.
another
I think
alternative?
if China's just slowly going to swallow us now. I think we've reached that point. I don't know where it's just like
I don't really want that either.
I don't want that, but it's like America fucking just created a lot of enemies, a lot of powerful enemies throughout the world. I think it's partially why we're so militarized too, because it's like we've had that line, that Riley line Doc said to us, like, you better have eyes in the back of your head. Then America's like, oh shit, we don't. We need to just have enough arms to kill everybody, but then that doesn't even work. And then it's just like, everyone's our enemy on the planet now, and it's just like, yeah.
Oh, okay, again, I don't know if everyone is, dude.
I'm not saying literally. I mean, China has a lot of enemies too, but I'm just saying I think they're a little more stable than America. Just like in that department.
Especially economically, who's the leader?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's like they don't prioritize just military winning so much in China, and they have a higher population and shit.
dude,
You can see it.
we need both our Naruto and our Sasuke. We need to get a little slap upside the head by the Sasuke equivalent to our country. Because you remember when Sasuke started to find out what the village really did to him and Itachi and his family? Like
In the beginning,
when he actually found out after Itachi died, and we're talking about
after he died, okay.
show us the series Naruto.
I was about to say like he did find out, and then he found out new information when he was older. Remember?
Yeah, we found out like, oh, Itachi was set up by the village to do that, and then he went on like a war path against the village to like make them pay for their sins. Like you guys fucked up, and now you got to kind of pay for that.
Yeah.
And maybe we need a little slap upside the head from that, but not to a way where we like create a post-apocalyptic just wasteland. Like I also want the Naruto side, the side that helps us thrive. Like all right, we need that slap upside the head, that correction. Like we're fucking up. Maybe we have to, because my mom said this, and this hit so different. She's like, people just aren't suffering enough in America to really put a lot of effort in to change on a large scale.
Yeah, that's also true. It's just like people were just like too comfortable to actually want to change anything about their life. So it's like, you're too civilized to actually make any change, and then you're just gonna complain about it until it fucking puts you in enough suffering to then do something about the problem.
Damn, I wonder if there are alternatives. Like, is there a way to do that without catastrophe happening? Like, where you can kind of maybe add that into like gradually over time, so you come to understand how to solve these problems, and it never actually like collapses entirely.
Yeah, I feel like there are, but I feel like the chances of us. I feel like the chances of us, like as a mass society, taking those changes are kind of small. Just seeing how look, here's a good story that illustrated to me. I heard someone tell me this, just like Sun Chips, the brand of like chips.
I think so.
Okay, well they came out with like a special biodegradable bag like a couple years ago, and it was supposed to be like way better for the earth, because those plastic bags that they come in like just last forever. And it was supposed to be made out of paper and whatnot. And the bag crinkled more. It's like the crinkle noise that it makes when it open and stuff. And people that drove their sales down a bunch. So the people didn't like it and they just went back to their own bag. So it's like literally like the smallest inconvenience. People don't want to change, their life for the fucking, good of the planet because they're just kind of like not forced to hard enough in a weird way. The Force.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's like the world hasn't punched them back enough to like make them want to, and then maybe it'll be too late by the time we actually want to change something because that can happen.
It can. That's a
It could be
possibility.
too late by the time we want to do something about it.
Fuck that.
That's the regret. That's the regret of addiction we're talking about, where it's like now I want to do something about it. Too late. Fuck.
Dude, I'm realizing. Okay, so I've been on the path of like investigating self-discipline lately, just realizing what's all the hubbub about this thing. And one of the things I've realized is I'm starting to, at times, impose will, do things that are unpleasant, this, that, and the other, that I'm pretty spoiled. Like, I'm a pretty spoiled person going into the discomfort, and maybe that's more my specific psychology, not so much nurtured, but nature. But from what it seems right now, doing uncomfortable things or getting up to do like work, I don't feel like doing that. Like I can feel that. It's a surprisingly powerful force within me, and I can see that gradually I can start to change it. And as Goggins says, callous the mind against doing uncomfortable things. Like it's possible. It's just, man, I got a lot of ways to go when it comes to. But it's cool to know that you can do it in that like Kung Fu Panda, if the situation allows, right? That Kung Fu Panda, more slow and steady. Find your specific way to grow right now, and then go with that in a more enjoyable way. But sometimes, man, when the war bells sound,
But then it's not good to just always go pedal. Like I don't feel like you're as fucking like trust me, like you are spoiled, but I do know people way more spoiled than you. And, like there are people that are just like I don't know. Like trust me, I do know people way more spoiled than you, and I know obviously there's people way less spoiled than you, but I don't think you should beat yourself up so much, Alex. It's not like, you're on like my 600-pound. It's just like, Dad, go get me McDonald's. Yeah, I only saw one episode of that. It was like, Dad, go get me McDonald's. Oh, they got 6 hamburgers. Looks like you didn't get one. And he just like took his dad's hamburger. They were like throw a bunch in the bag. They're like, but yours wasn't in here, so it looks like you can't have none. It's like they're literally like, oh, dude, you have 5 hamburgers? Yeah, just give me one.
dude, I'm not gonna lie. I felt not to that degree, but I felt some equivalent to that when it comes to like sharing my weed or like video game time at certain points in my life. Like I felt like like this is mine.
Yeah. Like, yeah, but then you have to realize, like, this is your
Yeah, hopefully.
before you're a 600-pound person.
Yeah,
So crazy. I think it could be like
600
150 pounds, all muscle, or 600 pounds.
mostly.
Just like, I can't even, dude, I literally saw an episode of that where some lady like fell and was like, dude, if I fall, I could just die. Just like, I could break every bone in my body and I could be left here. And she was like so afraid of falling. Like, she was like definitely afraid because she almost fell. It's pretty scary.
That is pretty scary.
And not even like a big fall, like just like, I'm just standing and I just like fall, Not like I'm jumping or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Or falling. Just like from the ground, just you're standing, right?
Then there are pro skaters that do
Yeah.
this crazy like 50-foot jumps and
I love my card in my game. Fucking Tony Hawk in a skate park with 2 Uzis. That's a cool card.
said if you want we can make your game and we can start selling your game. Make that on the podcast. I feel like that'd be fun.
Brought to you by Setherson Humanity or something.
Yeah.
Or I'd make a cool name, not just that name. I'd make it cool.
Nice. I'd promote that set. Yeah.
That was pretty funny. I just heard the last time we played at one point, it got fucking Beowulf and fucking Beast Boy. It just like combined as a weapon. I was like, damn.
It's definitely a cool card game. Yeah.
That dude.
Yeah. Beast Boy. Yeah, turn shit off in that last round. Hmm.
Anyway. Hmm. So yeah, when that Capitol storming happened, yeah, the actual possibility of like some kind of civil war was about like all time high in my life. So yeah, I kind of agree. It was kind of like a 9/11 of this world where it's like, all right, something good, like if people legitimately believe so bad, it's like I'm gonna start because people were there like I'm gonna capture some politicians and tie them up and stuff. Where it's like, oh man, if they actually do get a bunch, and it's just like, all right, we're gonna put a fucking barricade in front of the White House. Who's in charge now?
What would Trump say in that situation to his followers if they got hostages? Like, okay, now tell us, leader, what do we do with Nancy Pelosi and like Kamala Harris? We have them. Like, what? It's kind of frightening and freaky to. Sadly, it's also a little comical, but it's all. It's like I couldn't confidently say he wouldn't start some like crazy.
I'm gonna try to do it. Look, their salaries are expensive, bullets are cheap. That's all I gotta say, taxpayers. Probably say something like that. Just like,
Oh, it's too on point, man. Like the perfect. I didn't say specifically.
yeah, it's just like, I'm not saying. You can hear him say now.
Oh my
Anyway.
god, dude. I was listening to my mom talk about some places she's worked at before where she was a safety manager, right? And funding's low these years, and we have like 6 machines that are like on the brink of like breaking. They're
Yeah,
really
I
fucked
hate when
up.
companies do that shit. It's just like we need to push it to the max to
Mhm.
achieve maximum.
And like we're not telling you to specifically duct tape this and break the safety rules and walk on a tightrope while you're fucking chewing gum, but be innovative. We don't have the money, so figure like be creative, guys. But think outside the box. Don't break the rules, but be creative.
And
And
then people get hurt when the rules are broken. Just, oh, that was
because my mom would be like, no, they would just always break. Like that would be the way. We don't have this amazing innovation where we fucking chewing gum and fucking duct tape and fix this. Like no, it's people are gonna get hurt. She literally said because she worked in a chemical plant, right? Like, how do you find out that a tube that transports like hazardous material
is leaking. Yeah,
yeah, it's broken now. Oh, it starts spraying. Just
they wait until that point. They don't actually look until that point. And if they do see it, they're just like, I still want to try and see if it's still working. And then it's like that just puts the nature and the people in danger that are driving the truck and stuff. Obviously,
is that what it means to like I don't know, to lack a humanitarian core in your fucking in your values to not to care more about what profits something like that or in status.
just human life. That's just life in general. Because with chemicals, it's like that can destroy the environment. That can destroy like water supplies and shit like that. So it's like,
Have this notion, dude, that like for humanity to thrive in this coming like super age of human superpowers, pretty much already there, is to adopt some sort of values from the stereotypical Native American, nature loving, strong community values that like I think of.
the Native Americans didn't have guns like we pass. We're killing. Okay. That's what matters, Alex.
Hey man, can't.
Great.
That's an important point. To not lose your power while also being well actually that's a weird one.
Now you can lose your powers.
Yeah.
You shouldn't always just be like, I just need to hold the ring of power forever.
Yeah, that's a great in was it in Harry Potter, in The Mask, in The Ring, like the common theme is like the hero the goal is to destroy this super powerful thing. Like Jim Carrey gets rid of the mask and he's like, fuck that, I don't want this fucking amazing power. Harry Potter has like a super wand, he like breaks it and throws it into a river. Yeah, there's like a super like one of the main points as a certain point is Voldemort, the bad guy, getting this super wand and being just insane magic with it. And Harry gets at some point, he's like the right user for it. Something like that. The wand chose you, and so it's working better than it did for Voldemort. And at the end, he beat Voldemort and he broke it and he figured it out. And yeah, and then the ring, or in Lord of the Rings, to like literally get rid of the ring, this thing that fucking turns you invisible and other crazy. Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Maybe that's a metaphor for like, yes. I mean, part of them. I don't know. I think that's a metaphor for the way power has to be treated in life, you know? Like everything's got a beginning, middle, and end. Maybe that strongest power is just meant to be burned out like that.
Maybe I don't know if that's a constant, like an always thing, but certainly it's sometimes, right? Where like the most important power to have right now is the power to give up power.
That is power. Giving up power is power, though.
Mm,
Again, if you don't, this potential energy in kinetic, it's like being able to turn your potential into kinetic, and giving up your potential is power. It's like, you have to give up that potential and then just make it what's happening.
mm, mm.
That also happened in Berserk where he's like, I killed the fucking main general of the largest army, and I cut his head off, and I cut his horse's head off too. And then I just like left the sword just like somewhere.
Oh right, that was the fucking the devil sword that he
Yeah,
used.
he just like gave it to him mid battle, broke his sword. Yeah, that happened in Berserk too. Happens a lot of shit.
Hmm. And yet, what's the difference, dude? I feel like I'll take a lifetime to uncover this, and even maybe then I still won't. But to figure out like the true differences between Griffith and Guts, a show called Berserk. If you're into hardcore, gritty ass fucking animes, check it out. It's free on YouTube. Um, yeah, dude. Like, what is the core differences between Guts and Griffith? I feel like it's like the Cain and Abel story, or at least in part.
Why?
Because I feel Griffith becomes like bitter with God and strikes down his greatest idol. Like in the Cain and Abel story, Cain or Abel is Cain's idol, and when Cain is at like his lowest point, he goes to God, and he's like, "Oh God, I'm doing all this work, I'm breaking my back here, but I'm not getting something that's worth it. I'm not getting like a worthy prize." And Abel's here, and he's fucking everyone loves Abel, and he seems to not be working as hard as me, but he's getting all these great awards. And God essentially, from the interpretations I've heard, said to him, like, dude, don't lay this at my feet when you're the one who sort of created this mess. Like,
Why? How did he create it?
because the idea is that he's not sacrificing something worthy of like enough importance. That's one of the interpretations. Like, you're not putting your all in, you're not giving your best, and so you're not getting like the best that I have to offer. And he gets so pissed off when God says like it's your fault. He goes and he kills Abel, and Abel's like his idol. That's his ideal, like the best version of life, and he kills it. So it's almost like a fuck you to God, like it's a thing, like a flip off. And when you start to learn about like mass murderers and like mass shooters, school shooters and shit like that. There's a very similar, and I'm taking this a lot from Jordan Peterson and a lot of his lectures, but I started to read the material myself and you see it. This like hatred towards the universe, towards life, towards like everything. I've told you
Well,
about
that
this.
seems like hatred towards authority in that story. It seems like there's a literal authority named God. But I guess I know your interpretation of God is just like the universe at large. But at the same time, in that story, there's like a literal being named God that's like, I'm mad at you, so I'm gonna kill your son. So that's not. It's not like in that specific story. It's more like I'm just mad at like an authority figure. So that you do see that a lot. That someone's mad at like a higher authority figure. Almost like how, a lot of people our age are mad at the government and stuff like that. And elitists. We're kind of like the authority figure in today's world.
Hmm. And so to figure out when is it a sin or not a sin to rebel against authority.
Yeah.
So when is it a righteous time to break the rules and to be full of rage?
And when is it
And
not? And then when are you acting like Cain?
yeah.
And you're just like killing your brother because you're jealous that he has more success than you.
Oh, dude, there's a great description on like envy and comparing yourself to other people. The description goes like, all right, go back for a huge portion of our evolutionary history and imagine that resources, maybe we're running out of resources now, it's plentiful. So if you're not a very contributing member to this group, it's like that show Survivor, where if you're not doing well enough, you get kicked off the island.
Mm.
And so, okay, I'm comparing myself to these other people in the tribe, and I don't want to get kicked off the island. So maybe to not get kicked off the island, I have to weaken your ability to be good at this thing or the other. Maybe I have to sabotage you as opposed to upping my own skill because I trust more that if I sabotage you, I'm more likely to stay in.
Mm.
So that's kind of like one of the explanations I've heard people find envy, and now I'm comparing myself to you. But it's weird because it doesn't match up with a lot of the current world, which
Yeah,
is
that happens a lot in the world. Where people will be like, oh, I'm gonna sabotage your abilities just so I can, up myself and comparatively seem better. That does happen a lot. It just doesn't happen in the same context as that, where it's like I'm gonna be kicked out and thrown into the woods in exile or whatever.
You ever see There Will Be Blood? Yeah, I know you
Yeah.
saw it, right? Yeah. And the guy has this quote where I want no one else to succeed. That's like I feel like the perfect metaphor for envy. I want no one else. Although I don't know, I don't know how far we're getting from that mass shooter mentality, but hmm,
What? In what?
in talking about the envy side, although it does
Is
seem to
that the
be a piece of it.
measurement mentality?
Maybe in part.
Sometimes, a lot of the time, because there are a lot like I'm not getting enough pussy,
Yeah.
and fucking everyone else around me's getting all the pussy.
Dude, that's literally I was reading
Or beat on my leg.
on the fucking. Ugh, that's
Sound logic.
yeah, dude. If you look at the what's like Columbine shooter, yeah, one of the Columbine shooters journal. That was one of the parts reasons he was so angry. Like, yeah, those jocks, those brainless zombie jocks, just having fun and fucking and like dancing. And he couldn't get a girl. Like he was having bad. I don't know if luck is the right word for it.
I wonder what his home life was like. I wonder if his dad was like.
From what I understand, no, it was like pretty normal, at least from what he said, which is one of the weirder parts.
Sure.
And maybe he didn't talk to them very much or get to know them very much. It wasn't very close
Maybe
to
he
them.
just said that too.
Yeah. It's weird.
People can just say things. Well, I guess you gotta take someone's word for it. Well, I guess maybe you should take the crazy person's word for it. So he was crazy as fuck. So he said it was normal.
But it's weird because you can see like the descent because it's like a journal over years, right? It's like it's not. There are little snippets from it. I didn't read fucking it. It's only like 30 pages, something like that, of like little snippets from different sections of the journal, and you see this like slow becoming less and less human, something like that. But maybe, dude, there's a weird part of me that thinks maybe those are the Sasuke's of our society. Like
Sasuke's.
The Sasuke's of our society that are setting off the alarm system that like not the Sasuke's.
The sus ass gay. Alex is homophobic.
Yeah.
I heard it here, folks. Dislike.
He's canceled immediately.
This is inappropriate for people.
Oh wait, no, I don't know.
They're the Sasuke's in the community. Why, Alex?
Like
They're just trying to strike against the village because they feel like society itself is wrong. Yeah, I can definitely see this.
Something like that. And like I feel like this is a huge alarm system.
A lot of the characters in Naruto, he doesn't look like he'd be the mass shooter. I mean, he kind of did do a mass shooting in a sense. He did attack the Kage summon at one time, where it's just like, I'm gonna kill you, motherfuckers. Just I don't know why. I forget the plot, but yeah, he was the most like emo-ish.
Dude, that brings to mind the Joker movie, and like I feel like there's a good chunk of people that saw the Joker, the one with Joaquin Phoenix, as like almost an anti-hero. And I see him much more as a villain, but there's a part of me that can relate to that. Like this in Joker.
Yeah, I could kind of see him as it really humanized like the mass shooter in that movie mentality, It made you see like why anyone could fall into that mentality with the situation he was in. Like my mom's just crazy. Everyone's around me crazy.
I'm literally crazy now that all my meds because society's getting fucked up, man.
People just tripping me on the train. Now I gotta go to fight back. And that's just gun down some
that's
teenagers in the train.
That's a very interesting note. Oh yeah, no, fuck there's so much to unpack there, but for right now I want to stick with. So we're talking about the wand being given up and the mask being given up. These great powers, these great cores of power being given up. But in that case, it was very interesting to see the wielder of power didn't seem to use it like that in the Joker movie. When he got the gun, it was like.
But he killed some people with the gun. He killed fucking Robert Downey Jr. on live TV. He was like, ah. Then that started a bunch of riot throughout the city with the masked people that were like, yeah, Joker. Or stuff like that. I don't know. It started like a riot, though. I forget the plot of the movie. No. Then Bruce Wayne's parents got killed, right?
Later. Just from the riot he started. If it was even really a riot, or maybe he was just hallucinating.
Because once you throw the fucking hallucinations in the movie, anything you see now could be a hallucination. That's why I don't like that.
Oh, but think about how crazy that is to hot, like really intense levels of schizophrenia. Because I imagine that would be like what their life is like. It's like I don't know. Am I talking to a real person? Is there even a recording happening right now? Is this house even like real? Am I insane asylum just making this up in a fucking room while I'm
Dude, I
wrong?
heard if you're around someone with schizophrenia a long time, you can catch it. Some disease you can catch. Isn't that crazy?
That does sound pretty crazy.
That's literally crazy. But yeah, you can catch schizophrenia.
Dude, honestly, I feel like if I read like a crazy comic book about like a dark Joker comic or something like that, and I read it too much, I'll start to feel a rub off on me. You know what I mean? Like if you watch a really fucked up movie, like Kids, don't watch it.
Watching kids fucking Fight Club on repeat. Just alternate back and forth.
Fight Club is nothing compared to Kids.
I don't know. I feel like it's pretty close. There's more bloody than kids.
That see, for some reason, I'm just more desensitized to that.
It's less sexy, underage sexy, and it's more like murdery and like terrorist attacky.
Yeah, which is weird. The level of violence we're okay with in our culture,
Yeah, but not
but
sex, which is weird.
Mhm.
It's like you blow up a building. It's like that's not as bad as it messing with a young chick, which is weird. Just like he literally blew up buildings in that movie towards him, which is pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. And like there were literally super bloody, vomity fights. I
Yeah.
remember when Brad Pitt was trying to convince the guy, it's like, no, like on top of, oh, what a weapon to use mid combat.
Gross.
Seth, do you know where your kidneys are?
Yeah.
Are they like here, like right below that little rib armor, that little soft spot?
I think your kidneys are near your back, actually.
So like,
There's two of them. I think they're like here, like somewhere in your back. Like they're kind of towards the back of your body, I believe.
all right. Also going for body shots and fighting. It's crazy how many things in life fighting helps with. And not just fight. Like, do you have those
What good?
I was gonna say, do you have those things you do in your life that when you do this you feel like it helps you with like all the rest of your life, essentially? Like those meta skills, we'll call them. Because I feel like when I practice with my stick and just the million things I'll do with it, so much of what I learned there applies to having these conversations, when I like my literal just day to day routines, like guidelines, like the way. Like I feel like it's almost a seeing of the way.
Yeah, I definitely see some things, but I feel like I don't know, the most meta thing to learn to do that's probably just breathing, right? It's like breathing techniques, and you do have to breathe all the time.
That's a huge thing. And I'm learning more and more how much that makes you like the alchemist, as it is described, the alchemist of your emotions. It's like, all right, I want to be really calm right now, or like really hyped up, just start hyperventilating. Yeah, it's literally having like your own pharmacist just on hand at all times. 2, 3. Hmm. Hmm.
Read another one of your questions, Alex.
Okay. All right. And I won't keep you on the podcast for much longer. We'll go watch something soon.
We could be here all night. I'm just starting. I'm just starting in time.
The hype, yes, bring the fun to the game.
Podcast ain't over until we're number one, Alex. What's the name of your podcast?
Spirit of a nation.
Spirit of a Nation, Joe Rogan Experience. And that's until then, we ain't stopping.
Where's the blow? Where's the fucking blow?
We going straight to the top. First one, million views. Million people, million views. Alright, go ahead, Alex. Ask.
All right. A beautiful charge up finish strike.
Wasn't there one question there, like, what's your most terrifying dream you ever had? Wasn't that a question? Did I read that? I don't know. What's your most terrifying dream?
Oh no, okay. No, not dream. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, we'll go over my most terrifying dream ever because it's a pretty fun dream to go over. It's one I know you're familiar with, but I'll go over it anyway. It's a wonderful one. Second grade, right? It's the last kid. This is the first and pretty much last nightmare I ever remember having. Nothing ever came up to this level ever again. Some little kid. I'm in the stereotypical creaky, scary fucking mansion, right? And there's one scary thing in it specifically that's fucking endlessly coming after me. It's a clown. It's It Clown. And it's killing everybody. There's a lot of people there. They're all soldiers. They're all like trying to protect me. They're like, go, keep running. And I just see them getting like murked. Like the clown isn't killing the like wacky clown things. The clown's just like headshotting, headshot, headshot, headshot. And just like I don't even see the clown. Like I saw like a little bit for a second, and then I just see the people that are trying to protect me, and they're just getting like shot, and they're like, "Go, fucking go!" And they're just getting fucked up. So I keep running. This happens for a while. I go into a closet, a little kid, fucking dark, totally dark closet. I find a blanket over myself, and I wait in silence. I hear the door creak open, like real fucking squeaky, not oil.
Super scarily. It's so long.
Door fucking shuts. Yeah, I just I remember vividly hearing scissors snipping. Like you can just hear it moving closer and closer and just in a high pitched, I'm gonna cut you into a million pieces. It's just getting like closer and closer. And I was freaking out and I just found this TV remote and I just hit like the channel switch on the TV remote and boom, I'm in like another dimension. I'm in a neighborhood and down the street I see just a normal house like my own neighborhood pretty much and everything's dark and there's this one light in the house and everything and the whole street dark. This one lit house. I'm walking towards the house. I trip. I hit the fucking remote on the TV remote, and I go back into the mansion, and then the clown's like either starts chopping me up or is about to, and I just fucking wake up like super freaked out. And this is like one of the most fascinating parts of the dream. That I was in that half dazed, asleep, kind of awake phase, and I was like, fuck that dream. I'm going back into that shit. Fuck that shit. I hate that shit. So I went back in, and all I remember is flying on a flying carpet with this clown and this really fat, like, you know, the mayor from Night Before Christmas?
Yes.
Imagine a guy kind of like that, but more like a monocle, more like steampunky sort of like,
Okay.
yeah. And he's there, and he gives us like this magical floating contract, and like I sign it, and the clown like flies away, and I like never had a nightmare again after that. I've had little one the last like year or two. This was in second grade. In the last year or two, I've had some scary dreams, but nothing on that level. Scary time. Okay, Seth. And now to you. I'm curious. Either one of the most fun or most frightening dream.
Which one? I was thinking. Talk a fun one. What's the most fun dream I had? I've definitely had dreams before. You know the glider from Avatar? I definitely had a couple Avatar dreams, but you know the glider from Avatar. I remember I had a dream, I just had that, and I had the ability to use it, but I didn't know how to use it like Avatar. So I was like sitting on top of it, and like
So would you mind facing with like
so that was a fun one. Ah, recently, I don't really remember having. Do you have any recent dreams, Alex?
maybe it's because I've been smoking so much more weed, but I don't think so, no. I don't really remember like a recent really memorable dream now that you mention it. Hmm. Interesting point. Maybe it's the thing about being an adult. Ah, fuck that. I want to get the wild, wacky, zany dreams of
When I
childhood.
ask you what your dream about, you usually give me an answer when you first wake up.
I've been writing my dream journal less, so I think I'm just remembering.
Probably just forget a lot of your dreams like everyone. So
Yeah, but it's
unless you just like write them down immediately.
here. One thing. Do you want to wear the headphones?
Yeah, sure. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Whoa, this is weird.
Uh huh. I need to get another one at some point to share with other people. But yeah, dude. bringing back those wacky things. When you take a dream journal, I shit you not. Like going back through it, it's like somewhere in your mind they're stored so clearly all these dreams, and you'll forget them and not think about them until you look at it, and then boom, the memory just starts to like pour back into your mind, and you'll remember things you didn't write down, like the gaps start to get filled in. It's very strange, very cool.
I've had a dream journal. I never kept up with stuff. Maybe like 4 or 5 dreams. I did remember the dreams, dude. I'll better than cut them.
No, fuck yeah, I gotta start doing that more. And then when you interpret them or have someone that's good, like a psychologist in a trained way, there's some trained ways that I trust in psychology of analyzing
I understand the
dreams.
history of psychology. I do. I don't. It's an insane celebrity.
Kanye West.
Close. He was close. He's equally ranty.
Charlie Sheen.
Oh, you're getting so close. You're picking the right kind of people. Tom Cruise.
Oh, I wasn't gonna get it, but yeah, I've heard some crazy scenes from that nice gentleman. Oh my god, dude! You know that episode in South Park, these geniuses of comedy, where they're trying to find a way to allude to Tom Cruise being gay, right? And they were asking their lawyers,
Yeah.
they're like, dude, can you have like Tom Cruise in a closet and us knocking, and then like comes out of the closet like, no, that's not good. And eventually it got to a point, if I remember correctly, where no one sees who's behind the closet, but I'm pretty sure they call it Tom Cruise. And like, okay, so he's literally behind a closet. So
Yeah. No, I think they did call him Tom Cruise. It was just like
wait, no, I think it was
legally, it's just like if you say just like Tom Cruise is a faggot and he's come out of the closet, it's just like slander. Yeah, honestly, if you had it like it's some crazy like.
Dude, that was wild. I think the Scientology episode, for a while, it was only played like once, and that was the same episode, I think, because Tom Cruise also believes a lot in Scientology, and a lot of other high-class celebrities that I can think of. I think Will Smith does. Well, frankly, that was the only one I could think of on the spot. hmm And there's some things about taxes with Scientology where you may have to pay less taxes, but
I mean, if it's a religion and it's fucking recognized, they probably just get tax free because.
I don't need just people to follow it. Like, not even the institution.
Yeah,
So,
but
like,
the institution itself might be able to like relieve you because I don't know. They might be able to relieve you through some way. I don't know if they tell you like, well, you're part of this institution. I don't know how this works.
Mm.
But I know churches do tend to avoid taxes, especially property tax.
has religion played a big part in your lifestyle?
Yes. You're like, oh, I'm a devout Catholic. Yeah. So why are you laughing, huh?
Sorry, something else popped in
Oh,
my head.
Alex is making fun of Catholics. So if you're a Christian or Catholic out there, you can go ahead and unsubscribe.
Peace.
Nah, religion hasn't. I mean, I stopped believing in religion a pretty long time ago. Probably like around, I don't know, I started questioning it super hard, probably like fifth, fourth grade. And then I was like, nah, I don't know exactly when I stopped believing it, but
Do you have your own ideas of, I guess, God and what life is all about? And
I don't know what life's all about. But it seems like people just decide on the moment what life's about. A lot of times people just go, all right, all life is boiled down to some moment where I'm gonna gunfight for someone. Just like sometimes people decide in the moment, like really in the moment what their whole life is decided. Just about but I don't know. I don't think there's a destined purpose for life now.
what do you want out of life, Seth? What do you think is the best? The best in life?
The best to have the future be closer to have the world be like closer to something I would like to live in for the other generations of people to come after me.
What would it look like? What are the colors?
The less they live in
Mm.
populating it and their values populating it.
That's a movie, by the way, They Live. It's a great movie.
It's a documentary, it's not an action movie.
That's not a documentary.
It's a documentary.
I can see there's an argument for
Oh,
that.
so you're saying they're not amongst us, Alex? Is that what you're saying?
God damn it.
Here, Alex. I'm just saying, you look at Mark Zuckerberg, Tell me that's not a reptilian lizard-like being from a different planet.
Maybe mildly autistic, but I don't think he's reptilian.
You tell me, look at Joe Biden. He's not a lizard-like reptilian being from another planet.
Touch of dementia, but probably no reptile.
I don't know, Alex. Yes, he had to wink. He had to wink right there because he knows. He's like that guy. He's like, I don't want to wear the glasses. He knows.
Dude, I want to just watch
They're
that
not human. They're
scene.
inhuman lizard fucks that need to be exterminated. They are all they know is exploitation, and the battle lines are drawn. Unless man versus machine.
Hmm.
They're corporates. They have more machine in their mind than man in mind.
I wonder how many of them could be changed. Like, I wonder how
Probably,
many.
probably. Especially if it was just like, we gonna kill you if you don't change. So it's like, all right, I'll change now.
I'm thinking, well, maybe that too, but I'm thinking more like we just give you an option that's better, like a sort of lifestyle in a future that's better than the one
I
you
don't know. It's
have.
hard to have a better lifestyle than just exploiting everyone around you and just like, I just have 15 yachts and all this, like the crazy thing you get from, crazy exploitation sometimes they have. But no,
Like, I wonder who that. I wonder if they're the happiest people, like on Earth, like the
I
people that
doubt it.
exploit the hardest,
I doubt it.
right? There's a part of me that really doubts that too. Like, who's having the highest quality of life right now?
I don't know. What would you, huh? Who believes that their life is nice? My life's nice, Alex. No one has a higher quality life.
Is there some objective measure I wonder we can create to just start measuring all lives being lived?
How much dopamine is coursing through your brain, I guess.
Mhm.
Or like the other drugs, or
Mhm.
the other positive drug. I don't know.
Something like that.
Maybe.
Like an amount, probably something to do with like intensity over time. Then, because like really, I feel like it's a good, decent measure for life. Intensity of positive emotion over time. Hmm. Seth,
Yes.
what is a fucking huge problem you face in life, but you found a solution to it.
Hmm.
And what's that solution?
I remember when I was in high school, a huge problem that I found a solution to. Trying to think of the biggest problem.
Take your time.
Hmm. I can't think of any big problems. Can I have an example?
Is your life having a big example?
No, your problem in your life. You saw a huge problem.
It's actually a really good technique because I feel like it helps me refine my questions a lot when you turn to like when I'm the one who's forced to answer them. I should because of the question. Anyway, big problem in my life that I've solved.
We count as a big problem too.
Whatever you would define it,
Yeah,
I'll just
you
base it
just
on
no problem.
your own definition of it. Mhm.
But one time my nuts itched. And I was I felt good.
That's a good solution to that problem. I like it. Hmm. Okay. Maybe not solved completely, but made good headway in solving. And for that, say fucking understanding the importance.
I think I have an answer
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Nah, you go ahead.
All right.
When you said importance, I was like, I think I know some stuff because I understand more things now than I do from high school. Just like, I got it.
That is pretty crazy. Look at the difference in our intelligence from that high school to
Yeah,
now.
it is just like I did just like puzzle together a lot of things that I didn't necessarily know, just like about the world and how things work, the real world, the
Hmm.
world outside of the indoctrination process that we're talking about. It is crazy how you're brainwashed into telling like this is what's important in school, and this is not what's not important. It's just like very regimented.
Yeah. No. Oh, real quick. I don't know if I did that earlier. I'm doing that again. So okay, so I'm going to the woods, right? And I have a few hours, and I'm trying to explore life through the stick in the woods, learn something important. And I'm finding that making a million different games, like I get good and I'm getting better at creating games when I'm in the woods. And it's not just because there's this part of me, there's what seems like a habit that I suspect a lot of it was reinforced in school. This habit of keep grinding through the boredom and discomfort and like, I don't want to do this anymore. Keep pushing through it. Like that sort of sit in that factory line and like keep moving along the thing, even when you're bored and your mind might be like brain dead, like keep pushing and that'll give you the good reward. But I'm finding that a lot of some of the best things I've learned when I'm going on these little ventures comes from being really creative, comes from having a lot of fun with it. And there's a great power I found in that, a great utility in having fun, in creative expression, in being willing to change up the game on the fly. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, there is a pro to that pushing through the boredom and pain
Hmm.
sometimes.
But not
But
all the time. It's like that's like half the equation, you know? There's like the feeling part of life, and then there's like the math part of life.
mm,
So it's like results, and that's what matters. But then it's like if that's all you care about, and then your life is just all about results. And then it's just like then your life really is just about how much can you suffer for results. And then it's like, all right, now your life sucks.
I see
Now
the
you
one
need to
thing
get
is
your life.
like, you ever see Blades of Glory?
Yes.
Well, yeah, you know the dude who would wear in blue. He was very refined. Like what I do, I have done a million times, and I'm amazing at. Like I'm super surgical and precise. Like yeah, I see that as like the mathematical. Then you have the Will Ferrell, the passion, the super creative. I'm doing a lot of improv
Kind
and
of like
like
Griffin
wild shit.
just like Gus is just like I'm just fucking got a death wish and I'm just so fucking slow on the wall. The Griffin is just like I'm actually just a really good swordsman.
Hmm. Like that more calm and cool style as opposed to the hot and fiery split. And yeah, dude, to find that balance within yourself, like the appropriate balance for you. So there's a problem that I've been finding a better solution to. The problem of improving quality of life, and a part of that solution coming in understanding the pros of creative expression and fun, and just having fun and being able to not the sort of fun you regret, but worthwhile fun. Like yeah, productive shit that like energizes you, charges you up, you feel good about doing. Yeah. Okay, so what about you? Important stuff. Problems that you found or have been making progress.
Yeah, I feel like just since high school, just like I've just understood more about like just more about like what adults around me tend to value and how I agree and disagree with their values and what I feel like I should prioritize the most in my own life and what life itself even prioritizes, you know? Just like, you know, water, shelter, things like that. Like there's certain things that everyone has to prioritize, things like that. Where I feel like in high school I had a warped perspective on what matters. And even now I have a warped perspective, but I feel like I have a less warped perspective now.
What do you think were some warped do you want to get comfortable? What do you think were some warped values that you had or saw that
Well,
you
like in high school, like I considered like going to the military and stuff just for money. Where it's like, I don't necessarily think nowadays I'd ever do that just like for money. I don't know. I just don't see myself supporting the U.S. military for money just because like I don't believe in the U.S. military and the things they've done just in the past. So it's like there's many, and I've actually heard a lot of people joke about like, yeah, that's kind of why they try to get you when you're young because you just don't fucking know anything about what you're signing up for, and it's kind of the way it's done. I don't know. Just a lot of little things like that where it's like, I don't know, a lot of things I did evolved and a lot of things in high school a lot of things that I believed when I was in high school I still believe now, but at the same time, just a lot of I feel like a lot more hatred is built for certain people and a lot less hatred is built towards other people.
hmm.
People.
Okay, before I am kind of curious of oh here, no. Because there's a better
Because
leveraging way to
I do I know how to find the leverage.
um
Oh, I'll be sure. Oh, oh, oh.
so
Special ability.
Before we get off of that, I want to jump on this real quick. So, what are some of the things that are like most important to you?
I guess like the bottom of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's most important to me.
Survival type stuff.
Yeah, in terms of like my own survival, that would be the most important. But like emotionally, what's most important to me? My friends and stuff. My ability to like have my health in order, and my friends and family to have their health in order.
Yeah. Yeah, that covers a lot of the spectrum of what makes a good life.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. There's a great quote that kind of sums up like what is to have a good quality of life to be happy, strong, and healthy. And yeah, it seems to cover a lot of that. Fuck yeah. What do you hate more now? Just tapping that fuel of rage. Did you say the bang burgers?
I hate the way machines have entered the minds and bodies of mankind and influenced them towards their own undoing and addiction towards the machines.
Hmm. What do you think is a possible solution to that?
Rewilding on a certain level.
You say rewilding?
Yeah, to a certain level.
Dude, I fucking feel that. Like just literally using my phone less,
Yeah.
being more in silence and just my own thoughts. Seems healthy. Feels good. Feels better. Going and literally just being in nature.
Hmm? But I'm not saying like you can't have anything involving technology, but there's just like maybe you should have some limit that you're allowed to use your technology or something like that, or maybe you should be like, oh, you can't, drive a car any further than this amount of miles for a year just because, like, your car just belches out a bunch of toxic chemicals in the air, and I don't give a shit that you want to drive more. It's like, it's kind of worth it for everyone for you to not drive more in every organism on the planet. Like, there should be more regulations like that, I feel like.
Hmm.
In terms of just like, I mean, I know a lot of people just literally want to drive like super long distances just for joy rides and shit like that.
Yeah,
So,
I've been guilty of that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Just like drive 4 hours on Jura. It's like that has a lot of fucking gas, but it's just like it's you just get you just buy more gas for this. It's like but eventually, you know, the smog builds up.
Mm.
There's nowhere to dump it. One of these days, fucking someone's got to invent a space trash can. Start they want to jump into space.
Maybe towards the sun. I don't.
That sounds like a doomsday fucking scenario.
Like, yeah, we missed the sun. Now it's whipping around.
Now a bunch of fucking trash coming towards us in meteor, and it's gonna pollute the atmosphere. When it comes back and re-entry.
Oh, that all that burning up on me.
Yeah, raining plastic ash.
Oh, fuck that.
Dude, we already have like a bunch of like trash around our atmosphere just from like not like how many humans do you think have gone into orbit? Like less than like 1,000, right?
Something really low like that, I would imagine. Oh, quick side note: fucking Chick-fil-A was using like cardboardy straws.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went to Chick-fil-A a couple weeks ago with Dallas, and I did see that.
Go Chick-fil-A. Feel like that's
Chick-fil-A is the
great.
best. Chick-fil-A is God's work. You see, that's where the Christians went right.
Yeah, fuck yeah, the pros of it.
See, I don't even support most mass like giant companies, but Chick-fil-A is an exception.
I agree. Dude, they hit that spot so fucking right. I swear to God, they should be like the model for future American businesses writ large, or at least a lot of what they do.
Chick-fil-A is life.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty okay that they're off Sunday. Like I respect that.
I respect it too.
Mm-hmm.
God would like a day off, guaranteed. Until it's consistent. I feel like the whole all society should be off. All society should be off at least one day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
That way, you get to all rest that same day. That's organized. That way, it's not like, oh, well, my day off is this, and your day off is this. Nah, we just all have the same day off.
Dude, you know what? I've been thinking about that a good bit lately. Ready Player One, the end of the movie. He gets control of the virtual reality world, and he forces like, all right, it's turned off like 2 days of the week. Like I fuck with that. Like, all right, here's this thing that's pretty easy to bliss out on.
Until people start like, underground found a way to fucking turn it on. There's two ways, the black market. Then it's like, oh, well, because you black market, we're gonna fuck you up real bad. And then there might be that overcorrection. Then it's like, oh, better have eyes and think you know anything. I could see it happening.
The difficulties of imposing
Yeah,
rules.
rules, yeah.
That being said, I still fuck with it.
I do see that. But what if you bought like an Xbox, right? And that Xbox would automatically turn off after a certain interval of time. And it was like half an hour. We're turning this off. And you can't turn it off for another day and a half or something like that.
If we had 5 days of you can play this as much as you want, and for 2 days it's like nah, you just not. Me personally, because I've had some problems with video game addiction before, I respect that. I'd be like, you know what? Yep.
Yeah, I mean, 2 days out of the week is not that bad, but
Dude, playing permadeath is so fun. I just started doing that in Far Cry the other day.
Far Cry will.
Like where if I die, you have to restart the whole game.
Oh, yeah, I call that.
Because Christian has the PS,
I
yeah.
love doing that. Playing not any, it doesn't work well with every game because some games are just too hard to get through the campaign. But it really feels like it's like this is your life. It's like if you die, that's fucking it.
Yeah. It's a fun layer to add to that game.
It's a layer of seriousness. Like, you gotta approach every serious game, every fucking situation. Like, if this was like real life, when you get shot, it's like I've been shot.
Let's all take over.
Killed. If I die, that's just it. And I gotta restart this whole fucking game.
That just hits so different when it's like that.
When I'm playing like that, I'm just like, if I die because of the glitch, I don't count it because like you die because of the game and stuff, not because. And usually you can tell if it's like a fucking obvious glitch.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, you know.
Or you could just play like, man, glitches included. If I glitch, they glitch.
That's like that. I was kind of feeling that way because, like, oh, I felt like I cheated the system a bit because I died from a glitch, and I was like,
this one is retarded sometimes. Though it's just doing wrong things.
yeah. But what if like now I have to? That's a part of the enemy. I have to look out for what's likely to cause that glitch, if anything.
It's true.
Unless it's just total random. So, yeah.
Game.
Sometimes chaos hit different though.
Yeah, that permadeath feels weird in game.
Mm.
Most any game. Yeah, I was trying to do Mad Saints Row 4. It did not work out because there's some levels in there where it's just like, dude, you're flying a ship. And if you crash the ship anyway, you're just dead. It just kills you. So it's like, it's not even like tied to health. It's just like, if you mess up anyway, it's a super fragile little ship.
Dude, like imagine how many times you'd have to replay it, play like 5 hours necessarily just to get to that point in the ship. And every time it hits you, that'll be hell of a mental
exercise. Still at that point. Up until that point, it was like, I'm just tearing through these fuckers because it's, you're pretty much just like God in that game.
Yeah, at one point it was like, all right, I want this to stay a game. I don't want to see this as like work now. Like, dude, that Rick and Morty therapist, little monologue, you remember Pickle Rick episode? Where just they explain that, like, yeah, some things in life are just work. Like, you can't fuck it up so bad, you have to worry about dying or being exploded. It's like, and I guess the equivalent to that would just be having fun, maybe. And there's a part of me that wants to fight against that, but maybe I'm overcorrecting and doing that. Like, sometimes it's just try to make peace with negative emotion, bad times, something like that. I wonder why Rick's not happy. I feel like we could solve that. Solve a lot of mankind's problems.
Why Rick's not happy and Rick. Is he not happy? He's happy a lot of the time.
Yes, so dude, he is like suicidal a good chunk of the time.
Sometimes he's not suicidal and he's having fun. Maybe because he's so PTSD ridden. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe, yeah, gone through some crazy shit. I'm not sure. It's just like hollow view, this like really narcissistic, not narcissistic, sorry, not, although maybe a little bit of that, but like pessimistic view of life in and of itself. It's that question of like, is it even worth it? But I'm so afraid of like going to that next level that like, I feel almost trapped here. Like I feel like that's a lot of his view of life, honestly, a lot of the time. I don't know.
Trapped in your own flesh shop. He can do a lot, so he's less trapped than most people. He has more freedom than most people. But maybe it's because he feels trapped that he's like gone down the psychology of having as much freedom as he possibly can,
It's weird how you can corrupt your own life, like literally just Mm, with beliefs, with beliefs.
Yeah. You can brainwash yourself to an extent.
Beliefs. Okay, Seth. It's a really important belief. I feel like you have to have in life to thrive.
To thrive.
hmm Or, or maybe, you know what? Maybe we should extend this a little bigger. What's a belief you think could help America thrive? Or at least your community. Your community.
The belief in investing money into local businesses.
Hmm.
That will definitely help your community thrive. For that will invigorate the American dream in your community. That a man comes here and he can start a business by the sweat of his own brow, get a house.
Hmm. Hmm. The beauty
It's
of
not like
normal life.
work for Amazon. It's like that's the American dream. Everybody works for Jeff Bezos. It's not necessarily.
Did you hear he's stepping down?
Yeah, he better. Yeah, I can see that. The same reason why Mark Zuckerberg stepped down.
Oh no, Mark Zuckerberg didn't step down.
I mean, he did at one point, didn't he?
All I know is he's still leaving it now.
Now, yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure he said he stepped down at one point. Just like, I'm not the efficiency. I'm not taking all this heat no more. There's too many death threats. It's just like, what? Well, a crazy what?
Good position to be in.
Yeah.
Be one of those guys.
Yes, Lord. You must get a lot of bullshit every day. A lot of shit to think about.
Yeah. I wonder if they love it. Love the building of a business.
They love the money. They probably don't love all the stress.
You know, I don't know, dude. Like I've heard Warren Buffett, he keeps making money and investing because he kind of loves the game of it. It's not necessarily the money in and of itself, as opposed to the process of getting it and being so good at getting it. And by like investing in stocks and pulling at just the right time and knowing what to invest in, like, oh, that's like a puzzle game for him in a way. And like that's what's fun. And I wonder if maybe for like a Bezos or Zuckerberg seems more from what I've heard, of like an innovator. He might be more for like the dream building of future. But for Bezos, maybe he just loves the game of building a really efficient, huge business. It's like, yeah, it just gets my rocks off or whatever the saying is. Like that's his high.
At any cost.
That's where it becomes kind of an addiction. Like what's your
Any
relationship?
cost.
Shit in the bag, truck driver. We need to get there. 15 minutes or whatever, yeah.
No break time. I haven't slept in so long. It's dangerous. I don't give a fuck. Adderall, motherfucker. You're supposed to use a crap. We don't.
Now I heard it's pretty easy to get an Adderall prescription. Be innovative,
Yeah.
but we're not promoting.
Yeah. Not promoting drug use while you're operating our company vehicles.
Damn, okay, all right. I feel like I'm shitting too much on
Truck drivers specifically.
no, just the systems that play at them. Just our government. I feel like it's not enough. Okay, so you know what? I'll ask you this shit. Let's do some positive side of it real quick, and maybe let that be the note. And I'll know. We'll see. We'll feel it. The best things about your community.
About like sickle real and stuff. Let's see. We have a decent education system, I guess. I guess my education was decent. When I went to school, they did teach me a lot of things. They did waste a lot of fucking time, but they did teach me a lot of things. Not every teacher was good, but they were like just relative to a lot of other education.
Yeah, that's. I feel like it's a good message to you. Like compared to the rest of the world, or maybe the rest of America,
Even
what did we get?
we had decent education. I mean, at least I did, because I did like have a lot of teachers that did teach you like so here's how you do all this math and fucking here's how you use a computer actually and shit like that. There are a lot of like life skills that I use today that I did learn in school. So that'd be a really good thing about my community. The roads are good. Well, okay, sometimes they're not great, but relatively good.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
we have good roads.
What else do we have good? We have good library. We do have just some public libraries. Police and Ambulance come pretty quick.
It's crazy to just kind of look around at the material. Yeah, dude. And like those little things, like the fact that handicap access is like everywhere, like
Everywhere.
ramps, like just to go through this
And
neighborhood.
parking spaces and everything too, yeah.
Yeah, so many little things like that, dude. Like lights that come on in the street, or at least most of them do. Hmm. Like automatic doors, like at places where you click the handicap door and oh, it opens automatically. Hmm. I need to make a list of just like those small things that we forget.
Like
Like
there's
there's
that is what you like have taxes for, all those little things I named. Like the police and the roads and the library.
these little things. The police.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you don't have the police, everyone's dead. Just like anarchy. Whoever
We do have all kind. You know what?
goon
I
squad.
gotta say, all the police I've interacted with in our area, I've had like all good interactions.
I've had all interactions. Now,
At least it's 50-50. I don't know. But like for the amount of stupid shit been caught doing, it's like, all right.
the police, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't say I've had any horrible interactions with the police, but at the same time, I don't like the police.
Is it just because like they have authority, or because you're more likely to get shot? But yeah, that it seems.
I don't like the police. I don't like the rules they enforce too.
It's a stupid ass rule that.
Especially because it's oftentimes a stupid ass rule, and it's like that fucking
What have you been interacting with for a stupid ass rule?
for the police.
Hmm.
Ah, I mean, I've had cops. Remember that time that cop came up to us when we had the blunt near, I mean, the legal tobacco near the park. Of course, we just smoking a blunt. Just like you could be arrested now. It's just like I don't know. This is like I don't know. There's a bunch of like interactions. Anytime you interact with police, you could be shot, in my opinion. Especially because police are just like not very qualified. Like, there's no like
That's
qualification to be a police officer other than like you had the slightest will at some point.
well,
It's like it's way easier to fucking become a police officer than I think even like a teacher. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I think
there's a lot to fix there.
yeah.
That being said, there's a lot of good things. It's hard to get like that objective measurement of like the true state of our society, of our maybe even of our lives, but that's a weird one. I'll stick to our society for now.
It's like how good could have things been? It's weird to say, you know. Like if you didn't have police, obviously that'd be worse. Maybe. That's like if you scaled them down 20%, would that be worse? I don't know. And then it starts getting iffy if we start looking at every possible reality, you know.
Hmm.
Just like, whoa, I don't know. Police generally are a good thing, though.
And ambulances and hospitals and schools and teachers and people that fix our electric lines.
I would say the police have bothered me more in my life than actually helped me do anything. You know? I'd say like every time I've interacted with police, usually they're bothering me more than they're fucking actually helping me accomplish anything. Like getting like I don't think I've ever needed police. Actually, I've needed an ambulance before, but never police. I've called the police to get the ambulance though, not to get the police. If the police didn't show up, I wouldn't have cared. And in fact, since they did show up, I was more likely to be killed. You know, so it's like dude, there literally have been instances where it's like I called the cops and the police to because someone else is getting hurt, and then the cops show up and just shoot the first black dude they see. Where it's like, oh man, that makes you think twice. Where it's like you could just be fucking killed, just like for even calling these fuckers.
That's a real different perspective on police officer. Dude, it's funny because my mom really likes watching the like SVU show. It's like a cop show, something like
It's
that.
like cops. I would imagine cops.
Yeah, but imagine more like a soap opera version of Cops. Yeah.
Cop.
Dude, Andrew Schultz is a great fucking show. Like breaking down.
Is that the guy with the red hair?
No. Andrew Schultz. Maybe I'll show you.
Thinking of Andrew something Santino. Santana commercial. Andrew Schultz.
He has a show on Netflix called Andrew Schultz Saves America. It's a fucking great show.
Andrew
Highly
Schultz
recommended to everyone
saves.
to watch.
That's all I can imagine. Oh yeah, I know this story.
Mhm.
The Team Space.
So just breaking down the difference in like views of police from the white community to the black community, and like white people, they pretty much love police. Like think of all the shows they
Yeah.
have for them, movies and things along those lines. And on the other end of the spectrum, I'm afraid to call them because I'm gonna get possibly shot.
Dude, I saw one video. It was like some kid that was living in some black community, and he saw like the cop. Like he was just like playing in his front lawn with like a toy truck or something, and he saw like a cop just like drive down his street. He was like, "Oh shit!" And he started like running from the cops. Like the cops were just like gonna kill him, but it was like the cop. Those cops had killed someone else like
Mm.
unlike necessarily earlier like that year in their neighborhood. So it was like I guess the cops are just murdering goon squads. He got run from.
I'm not saying that, and at least my community is anywhere near that point, but it's weird to realize that if corruption reaches to the people that literally go around your town and have guns all the time,
Yeah. It's just like, that is just the goon squad.
damn. Oh, it's weird to think of police being like thugs.
Yeah, they're just the most powerful thugs.
Well, like if they're good police, then I wouldn't call them a thug, right? But like to actually think of like the bully version,
Yeah,
like a
they play that role sometimes a lot of the time,
mm,
especially with the people that they don't like. It's like that scene in Boondocks where it's like the Black Panther dude. We think he committed the murder. Just like, but all this evidence, no, I don't want to hear it. We're there at the scene of the crime. He fought back.
hmm. Maybe I should owe my history on like what's happened with
I'm pretty sure this happened in Philadelphia specifically. Honestly, that's pretty close to us. So you probably could just go like see like live places where it's like there have been like literally like this place was literally hit with like some kind of like heavy ordinance by the police because they had anti fucking like anti police views. There was like a go cult or something like that inside of Philly at one point. This was like in the early 1900s, like 1920 or something like that. Like, but still, like there was like some cult, like the Go movement or something like that in Philly, and it got hit with like some like crazy bomb. Like, freaking so
cannonballs or
crazy.
some shit.
Not even
That
like
was
cannonballs,
not
like
that
I
far
think
back.
like ordnance, like fucking like we might have like had the military involved, like dropping like Hell's Storm missile esque shit on us. Like I don't know, this has been some crazy shit the police have been involved in.
It's weird all the angles that like someone has to watch to keep a country running.
Yeah. Internal, you getting destroyed from the internal, external, the aliens,
Yeah.
really external, the extraterrestrial.
Fucking capsule UFOs that are moving at
That one
ridiculous
crazy
speeds.
guy in his fucking basement fucking with radioactive shit trying to make an atom bomb.
No, I think sometimes the CIA gets a little bit too much of a bad rap because
Trust the CIA.
that's a hard. Like they've done a lot of fucking up shit. Don't get me wrong, but goddamn, dude, and them in Defense Department or whatever it is, the Homeland Security, something like that.
Homeland Security is the thing, yeah.
It's like a 9/11 hasn't happened since 9/11 in America. That's pretty fair.
PSA? No. It's
TS.
TSA.
Mhm. Well, no, the TSA. I don't think they they do very much from what I understand.
They have a hard job again, but 9/11, I don't know.
But I want
It's an excuse for a lot of shit.
no, I'm saying a lot of like 9/11 hasn't happened since,
Yeah, no. Yeah.
and like people have been trying constantly, like with a lot of effort to fuck up America, like with a lot of effort, and they haven't. Like,
Yeah, I mean, what people though? I mean, no one wants to fuck with America because honestly, like,
what's
that's our
9/11?
story.
Oh, look,
You can it's just like, yeah, he's.
I feel like
I'm sure already knew about it. We already had the conversation where it's like Bush kind of did get briefed a bunch of times that 9/11 was gonna happen before it happened. There's a whole bunch of fishy evidence about 9/11, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't know.
thank you for another podcast.
And there's a whole bunch of things. There's a whole bunch of fucking bullshit that's like, oh, we did this because of 9/11. We started invading our privacy because of 9/11. You allowed us to do it because of 9/11. It's like, how many terrorist attacks would we really get hit with? And then the example is like, it's pretty much like 9/11. The terrorism worked. It's like the terrorism really did terrify people enough to let them, have the government kind of walk all over them in a lot of ways and like tell people like, all right, this is what's going to happen now. There's no like going against it. because we got to fight terrorism. It's just like, I don't know. The whole point of terrorism is kind of to terrify people. It worked really well. I don't know.
Hmm.
See, I've heard similar shit. I mean, it's like, I don't even know if, look, I would just say, I don't even know if 9/11 was portrayed the way the government told it was portrayed. Like, I think at least the government probably knew something was going to happen. It was just like, we're just not going to do anything about it, just so we have an excuse to go invade the wrong places in the world and just like say that they're going to attack us again unless we invade, scare people that way, whatever. I think there's a decent chance of that, just especially knowing how fucking war hungry America is, and it's been a while since we had a war at that time, so it's like, yeah, well, I just made that shit up.
Hmm. Hmm. And then simultaneously, I think we're also the country that has the most like volunteer workers and aid throughout the world, and a lot of like nonprofit organizations that work towards feeding people, giving medical service to people. We're a we're a strange country in this America, and I don't want to. I feel like I've stuck too much on the negatives today of America, and maybe it's important to talk about. But goddamn, like there's a lot of beauty in this country. Like when I think just specifically for a second, just about my life in America, like the safety, the survival, like the lack of worry about actually just surviving in my life, in the lives of my friends that I've been with, um,
There
education,
is some level of survival if you worry about
but it's so small. It's
compared to other, yeah,
compared to the world, like every other.
not every other country, but a lot of countries.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Compared to I'd say the vast majority were very safe. At least, again, just talking specifically about like my life, like the
Yeah,
medical
your
services
life
have been
specifically.
great.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, entertainment, access to like wonderful things like going to the movies, having video games, being able to have time where I hang out with my friends and smoke weed and play LSD or take LSD and go paintballing and be able to like drive around, being able to find work. Hmm. At least, yeah, at least in America I've known.
Yeah, unfortunately, not everyone gets that.
Hmm.
It's not a luxury everyone gets.
Sure enough. But I wonder how many people get it compared to the rest of the countries in the world. You know?
Probably a lot more, but who knows?
Hmm.
It's hard to quantify. Because a lot of times it's like, oh, you have more material things, but then socially, you're not as nice. Because a lot of times, that's why I was thinking about like safety. I was like, what about Chubbs? It's like, is he the safest dude in the world? Especially like growing up. You think Chubbs had the safest childhood growing up? It's like, yeah, it's like he lived in America, but it's like, yeah, he had some rough bullshit he had to deal with growing up.
Hmm.
You know? So, yeah. We
Hmm.
don't always have it easy. Even though
Yeah.
you live in the first world, but you don't obviously have it as hard as people live in the third world. But not all. Sometimes I guarantee people in the third world are happier than fucking people living in the first world. Like we were talking about earlier, just like the happiness index. Like, are the richest people the happiest? Probably fucking not. It's like it's a weird medium you gotta hit.
Hmm. What would it take to help us feel genuinely good? I like what you said earlier about just adding more natural things into our lives and maybe a little less technology on the day to day.
Should be making a real effort at trying to reduce the amount of gas we burn, electricity we burn, and stuff like that.
Dude, you ever hear a book, Atomic Habits? I'll give it to you in the example of a bike squad. You ever heard of the Tour de France? Yeah, fucking biggest bike event. Goddamn world.
Yeah.
So the English team was not getting anywhere close to the top spot for years and years and years and years. So they bring a new coach in. And this new coach is doing some really strange like tactics. Like, okay, we're gonna teach you all how to wash your hands like nurses wash their hands. And we'll reduce the odds of you getting sick by like 2%, 3%, something like that. We'll change your pillow. So your sleep is more effective and will improve your clarity of mind and energy like 1%, half a percent. We'll change like the way you eat, how long you eat, how like the ways you chew, and a million different specific little things like this stretched across the entire life and day-to-day activity of these professional bicyclists. And because of these little 1% here, 2% there, 0.5% here improvement. It added up to them consistently winning first place in the Tour de France for many years to come afterwards. And there's still some of the most feared teams nowadays. I don't know if it's the same coach anymore. And the point of this is a million little improvements.
We equal a fucking wizard eventually. Yeah, yeah, that's very true. I've seen that in life.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, sometimes it's just like a game of inches, but then it's just like, how many tiny games of inches do you win before you are a mile ahead? Where that's how you get real mastery and shit at a certain point. It's just like knowing how to shave off seconds of shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Every different
Like
angle.
playing Apex, like, don't use this battery, use this battery because it's better for the situation you're in right now.
Only eat this sort of food before you go to play Apex because I know this gives me the right energy and clarity, but yeah. So to do something like that just with our day-to-day lives and maybe even our culture, I feel like over time it would compound to such a huge change, even if it was really small at the beginning.
Yeah, like if it was really small, that's the key. It's just like, you can't just be like, I'm never going to take the first step because you just want me to throw my iPhone out and never burn on gas ever again.
Look, okay. What if you just turn off lights in rooms when you're not in them? We'll just... Okay.
Yeah, I'll try, and then just don't do it ever. It's just like, that's the mentality of a lot of people. Just like, yeah, I'll try to do that, and then just
There's something I notice a lot when people are trying to like start the habit of exercise, right? Like it's the new year, new me. That's the common theme in gyms. It's like, all right, your sales are gonna skyrocket the first month because everyone wants to go. But so many people, dude, they'll go and they'll push it to the limit, pedal to the fucking metal. But it's not sustainable. It's like I hate doing it. It's drudgery. The fuck that. Like, dude, so few people start a new habit like you're raising a baby. Like you nurture it, you take good care of it, you have fun with it. Forget the baby analogy. I'm talking specifically starting a new habit. Have fun with it. Make it a positive association in your mind. Like, okay, I get to do this. This is a good part of the day. It's not like a
people do that with babies too, where it's like,
oh my
I had
god,
so many kids.
oh.
5 kids now. I never sleep anymore. If I do sleep, it's in short 2-hour bursts.
Dude, I swear some of the hardest working people alive might just be single parents.
Yeah. Especially single parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, fuck, you gotta raise a kid and have probably more than one job, honestly, in America. It's just like, you probably have at least a side hustle and a job to even raise one kid. So, yeah.
That's pretty wild. How like common of a thing that is having a kid, and yet it's such an important thing. It takes up so much of life. Like it's not I'm saving the world or something like that, but it seems like just as important for a lot of people. Yeah, something like that.
Because you're immortalizing yourself.
And you're making a new world, like a new life, kind of like a new world, all into itself.
Then when you die, and there it is.
Legacy. I wonder how important that is.
Seems important for some reason to humans. I don't know why.
Maybe it's a lot more important when you have a kid, because in the future matters a lot more, especially when you're dead. I would guess. It's like, okay, now the whole like 150 years from now, what that's like. If I'm the age of 50, that matters a lot more. If I realize I have kids now, I have grandkids, because a lot of people like here when they have kids, dude, it hits so different. Like it's such a game changer in how you view life and what you value and what you do with your time. Just literally bringing another human into existence.
Yeah, parents fuck stupid though sometimes. You know?
Sometimes, yeah.
A lot of times people have kids and then they get this mentality like, now I cannot be told I'm wrong about anything. Finally, I reached finally. Sometimes people are like that. Their stupid kid runs into you in the middle of fucking Target. Just like it's you, just like, hey, I'm gonna knock your kid out. Don't take care of it. What? You talking shit about my stupid fucking kid? We can say yes. Like, I don't know, a lot of those parents are really emotional and dumb. Just like, and they're just like, oh man.
An immature parent. Oh, that's got. Oh, I have to say, fortunately, I see that rare, right? Like it's like seeing a bad driver. It sticks out so much when you see it. Like it's not the norm in driving, but when you see it, my God, when you see the kid like cursing out the parent, walking through a Barnes and Noble, screaming like, "Okay, that's not a little kid. It's like a little girl, like a fire." It's like Jesus Christ, dude. And what the fuck? Hold up.
Is this ain't called yet?
No, I had an alarm set for now. Yeah, holy shit.
It's 3 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
We going till noon.
Hold on one second. I want to check. So, you know what? It'll fucking. Will it still save? Hold on. Because the camera might die.
Yeah, at a certain point, something's gotta give. Something's gotta